Yes, 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 yes. Yes, 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 yes. Yes, 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 yes. Yes, 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 yes. You can't teach it. You can go to journalism school if you want. I don't give a fuck if you go to Missouri journalism school, the Medill School in Northwestern Jackson, Newhouse, Syracuse, Cronkite, Arizona State. All of the sharpest minds in the world want to get into the journalism school, and you can't teach that.
Can't. You can try to replicate it.
Try. Be my guest. Right. But you can't do that. You can't do the Imperial March with yes. Try that, Costas. Ladies and gentlemen, the program's called The Tim McKernan Show. Our sponsors are as follows. Munganess St. Louis Acura, Munganess Burkhardt Alton Toyota, Mark Hanna, Evergreen Wealth Strategies, James Carlton, Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency, Seth Goldcamp, Design Air Heating and Cooling, and TMA STL Shop.
Yeah.
Look at this. Mike Flanagan was in here yesterday. I got to tell you, I'm excited about what we're doing with them. Well, you know, so you know.
Mm-hmm.
There's some things. Watch this. Look at this. Look at these little pincers.
Look at them go. Oh, they're fluttering.
There's some things in the works.
No.
I'm excited about it. But hey, if you're interested in the hats, Mike Flanagan brought some in. Here's what would you call this, Jackson? For those watching, this is terrible because 99% of the people who listen to this podcast don't watch it. But youtube.com/TMASTL if you want to go back. This is a white stepdad hat.
Yeah.
Here's the back of it for the 15 people watching. It's great podcasting. You wouldn't wear this.
I would.
It's got the clasp on the back.
But I love white hats. But like this one that you're pulling out of this navy.
This is navy, same thing.
Stepdad cap.
TMA.
Likely it wouldn't be my style.
Okay.
But
these truckers that I'm holding up.
Yeah.
Now, to me, this one looks black and this one looks navy blue, but I'm told this is navy blue and then this is blue.
That for sure. The one in your left hand looks black to me as well.
Okay. Interesting.
I have a similar colorblind ailment as you.
So, anyway, TMSTLshop.com. Get your stuff, and we're going to have some and what I'm wearing, the quarter zip, and what Jackson's wearing, the best fans in baseball hoodie. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you to... they're already in there, and they're already asking questions. And I got emails, and I'm going to make sure I get to them, and I post it on the TMA fan page on Facebook, which Jackson does a wonderful job moderating. I've noticed that we have so many more requests now with being on 101. But I noticed that, well, I'm scrolling through the requests now, and I guess these recent ones have answered the questions, but it seems like most of the people don't answer the questions, which is a filtering from the bots.
Right.
And then does it filter against Hoosier Trojan horses and nesting bodies?
I don't think AI is skilled enough yet, and I say yet.
Nest in bodies?
To get that, I think they're working on that now. I think all the brightest minds.
So Sam Altman, St. Louis Zoo,
Sure.
is working on a way to build a program to get people into Facebook groups.
I've heard it's a passion project of his. You know, it's like something you do on the side. It's like, what are you doing with your weekend, Sam? He's like, just staying at it. And eventually, I think it's going to come. So once that happens, things our end's going to get more streamlined. I'm
doing the thing that is just the most vile thing we can do in our industry, and that's not takes based on lies for engagement.
Mm-hmm.
It's eating into a microphone. I thought you were going to continue to talk. I bit into the bear bells.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are.
Yeah, I'm on the Bear Bells thing. There's this woman on Instagram and TikTok who just goes to grocery stores saying buy or buy, meaning buy as in B-U-Y and buy, B-Y-E, telling people what to and what not to eat. And it basically is like if it has any seed oils or sugar in it, she says no. Mm-hmm. And if it doesn't, she says yes. Mm-hmm. And I think it's simply the laziest form of diet advice, and people just follow it left and right.
Is that right, really?
It's crazy to me. It's like, oh, this has sunflower oil. It's no good. I'm like, it's crazy. Whatever.
I have to tell you here, I wasn't planning on talking about this, but that's been the theme of this podcast since its inception. And maybe it's unfair. I don't know. But I do think for the vast majority of the population, that if one were to if you want to use 2,000 calories as your baseline, go, okay, I'm going to lose weight, and go, I shall eat 1,800 calories approximately. That's all. Meryl Streep, Devil Wears Prada.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it. Now, if you want to be aggressive with it, then you might feel it a little bit more. Whatever this $155 thing is that I have going on, I don't lift anymore. I hate that I don't lift anymore, but I got a torn shoulder labrum, and I want to play golf, and I don't want to injure it, so I have to get shoulder surgery, and I can't play golf. It's that simple. Now, my body composition would be better if I were lifting, but it's kind of it. So so now I don't know if she's talking to people who want to like have athletic toned bodies. Then it's a different. Then I would agree with that, because body composition is different than caloric intake, operating at a caloric deficit if you want to lose weight.
Yeah.
But and I realize there are some conditions where you just can't. Yeah. But I don't know. I'm open to hearing otherwise, but this is kind of falling into the Dave Ramsey. You know who Dave Ramsey is?
Yeah.
Do you? Wow.
The guy you call with your financial situation, he gives you advice.
And he kind of usually skull fucks you a little bit.
Yeah.
It's math. And he just starts yelling at you about it. You have a car payment of $700 and you're making $32,000 a year? You know? Yeah. You're complaining about not losing weight and you're in the drive-thru at McDonald's? I don't know.
Yeah. I would say that the formula to lose weight is simple. The dedication can be difficult, but also then if you're doing some exercise of really any form, then the number of calories burned, because that 2,000 would be your calories burned every day, goes up, and allowing you to eat a little bit more.
Jackson, I don't think I tweeted this out. I haven't found a cute boy yet. Let's see. I'm just gonna. The first cute boy I see is going out on the Twitter tweets, but we already have 32 people in there. Yeah, I think I've used this guy before. He makes the heart gif.
Oh yeah, but it still works.
He's going out. Yeah, a lot of questions in the YouTube chat. Okay. Any more details on the spring training trip? More excited by this than the actual Cardinal season? Yeah, that's a nice question. I'm glad I get a chance to answer. By the by, I just can't stay focused. Let me ask you something. I'm going to digress for a third time.
Yeah, jeez.
Broadcaster-wise, is there anybody that I remind you of, honestly? And there, for the record, and you don't have to worry about like tit for tat. There's nobody you reminded me of, which really is a compliment, actually. Because I have a reason for asking that question.
Like just the ADD element of it is kind of where I'm thinking. I can't think of anyone off the top of my head.
See, I'm thinking it's Mad Dog-ish.
A little bit,
and I don't think that's a great compliment. I think he's like a good guy, but I think it's kind of fucking nuts. But I mean, I also don't know how really passionate he feels about the stuff that he's
yelling about.
You know, which for whatever reason is my moral compass in this business, and I have no idea why I've decided to stick to that.
I could see it a little bit.
Because it's all over the fucking place.
Yeah, I see that.
But anyway, so I'm talking to Jesse Kiowski yesterday, and we're talking about the spring training trip, and then we're talking about the show. I think I can give the numbers. Tommy Mattern gave me these. So TMA's downloads. Did I tell you this? Okay, because I just got this. 207,000 downloads in August. 189,000 downloads in September. We go to 101. On October 28th, 238,000 downloads, and 54,000 of those happened on October 28th through October 31st, and then November, 272,000 downloads. So anyway, just for fun fact, because I guess, who knows? I don't know, but just do with that what you want. But what stood out to me from the conversation, was really enjoyable conversation, was she goes, people asking about the when we did the party at Hot Shots for the Christmas party, for the toy drive. And she goes, I bet you got a bunch of questions. I go, I didn't get a single question. Not a single question that night about the show. She goes, no way. And I go, not a single question. She said, I had constantly people, which is a great thing. It's a wonderful thing. And I said, I don't know why. When I put my email address out there, when I do a show where I encourage hatred, it's fine. It comes with the territory. That's what the money's for. It's part of the deal. Why don't people ask me I'm not even talking about the
again, this and then the beginning with the death march. This is your resume reel. You kind of went Mitch McConnell there.
But I mean, the phenomenal pussification of not having the balls to email me from your own email account in exchange for what did I offer? I don't even know. $500, $1,000?
We were in a $200 range. Maybe it's that ferocious 155 frame.
I mean, for real? Like, what? How? Like, I'm like, send me hate mail. Yeah. And they still won't do it. Right. But we know it goes on, and I'm paying you to do it. That's one thing. I mean, it kind of like, these are the people you're getting your information from, but fine. But in this case, if you have a question about the show, and I am sitting here live on YouTube, and I give out my email address, why, you may remember a few years ago, I don't know if you were on the show at the time, but I remember my contract was coming up at KFNS at the end of 21, so you probably would have been. And Jay Jr. was filling in one day, and he goes, well, since we're talking about, the show, he goes, I get a bunch of emails from people asking what Tim's going to do when his contract's over. And I go, they're asking you? Why don't they fucking ask me? And then I'm sitting there when I'm talking to Jesse yesterday, and I'm going, they're asking you, why don't they talk to me? I don't get it. And I'm asking this from a place of true curiosity. It's sincere. I'm curious. Why? What do you think the answer is? And and the people on the YouTube who are watching this live. I don't know. Because this is Jesse, and you might go, I'm sure some people realize her father is the market manager, president here, but they're not like, hey, what's your dad saying? They're just asking things. Jay would fill in. I mean, he worked at Normandy's in the Sullivan golf courses. It's not like he knew. So I'm just like, why not ask the person who will actually tell you? And then if I can't, I'll say, I'm sorry, I can't. What do you think that's about? I get why these guys who don't have the nerve to write an email, which, I mean, again, it's what a commentary it is. But I get that because that's usually the trait. Like when I would talk to the police and we would have the situations with some of these people on the TMA watch list. Two now recent ones are from my neighborhood. Ooh. Calling advertisers. What a fucking deal that is. But either way, but nonetheless, they go, man, I mean, I know you're concerned. You had the thing happen. I don't even remember what it was.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, I got to respect the fact that this is your first one. Mm-hmm. And so you're in the mindset I was however many years ago when I had my first one. But what they will tell me is usually these people are,
Yeah.
So, okay, that's fine. I'm taking that out of the equation. I'm asking why you wouldn't just ask a question. And in this case, whether it be the YouTube chat or even email for the question, I'm not paying out for it. You can use a burner. Yeah. Even though it's just a question. So why not ask me the question?
I think in some cases...
What do we got here, Jackson? What do we got in the audience? I don't know.
I think in some cases, some people don't really, want the answer, weirdly enough. Like, they would prefer... Like, they ask...
Why ask a question?
Clip 3 for the resume reel. I think because like that, like as soon as they get the answer, it's Schrodinger's cat, the idea that something is both alive and dead.
I move the mic away so people don't hear me eating my protein bar. Yeah, it's what?
Schrodinger's cat. It's a physics thing where it's a theory that you put a cat in a box and the cat is both alive and dead, and you only know the answer once you open the box, and if the cat's dead, you effectively killed the cat because the cat lived as both an alive and dead state in that box, and you didn't know. So some people have that with the questions. They have a question that they
never heard about that.
That the answer, as soon as the answer comes from you, then it's definitive. But if the question's out there in the ether, it forever remains unanswered, then it can be continued to be discussed, pondered, used. And I think there is a little bit of an element from that. And I just think other people are just like, I don't really want to confront this like this. Like, I don't even want
this 155-pound specimen.
this Rottweiler of a
But
man.
any questions welcome. I mean, I want it. I like it.
Oh, I know it. I don't know. Based on pattern of past practice, the fact that you haven't gotten that many questions sent to your email directly about people, either issues or non-issues with the show.
But they go to Jesse Kiowski. They go to J. Randolph Jr. back in 2021.
I'm sure there's a little bit of gossip parts to it. You know, they feel like
I can answer the question.
But some people might think, I don't think this is right, but some people might think that you might not give them like the straight skinny, and if they get it from another person, they might be not holding back.
But why? What do I have to hide? I'm doing a fucking show.
I would agree. I think I'm not saying it's logistical, but I think that
Logical, I think.
logical.
It's like when you called Craig Rutledge insatiable.
Yeah, it was tough. Not my finest moment, but not my worst.
Honestly, one of my favorite moments.
And I was trying to.
God, I was so glad I capitalized on it because I was kind of not paying attention when you said it. And then I'm like, hold on a second. That was a Marilyn Chambers movie in which she was so horny, nobody could satisfy her. And the title was Insatiable. And you just described our IT guy as such.
I had someone come up to me like a month later, and they were really laughing about the insatiable thing. And he goes, "Here, I'll use it in a sentence for you. For a 3-year span, my wife was insatiable, and it sucked."
Oh, really? Who was that told you that?
I'm not going
I was going to try to pick that one off. There was a quick answer and you weren't thinking.
Not going to divulge.
Anybody I know?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I won't divulge.
Would I find the wife attractive?
I don't know. I don't know the wife.
Yeah, that's a no.
I don't know the wife.
You said I would know him.
You would know the person who told me this.
Oh. He texted to me?
Yeah.
All right, sweet. Because I might know the wife, and that's wonderful. All right, now back on track. So HB Cards, thank you for the question. That's my point. If you want to know things about the show, like who, and if I can't answer it, I can't answer. Whether I can't answer because I don't know, or I can't answer it because I can't say something because I know they don't want me to say it. Mm-hmm. Then I will say that.
Right.
I'm asking this also sincerely. Now I'm turning the tables here. You don't ask me questions. I ask you and the audience questions.
Yeah. Questions to the audience.
Questions to the audience. Is there something in the audience that you feel like I have lied to you about? You got 21 years and however many shows that is. 21 times 250. Jackson, what is that going to get you?
No chance I'm going to even come close. I'm not even going to venture a guess. It could only work against me.
I thought it was in the 5,250 shows. I can think of one, but it wasn't like a lie. But I would put it under the umbrella of letting the audience down.
Sure.
But you got to go back. Mm-hmm. And I can't imagine you would be aware of this because it goes to 2005.
No shot.
And I'm so embarrassed by it, but I'll share it.
You were really tickling the cat under that table?
No, that's an all-timer, by the way. That puts the insatiable thing to shame. That the general manager honestly thought no, it wasn't me. That when the copy for the company was so ridiculous that I laughed through it, and I would, in order to justify my laughing, said, "Stop tickling me, the cat." And then they pulled us into the office, and the general manager plays the audio as if he had just
the smoking gun.
Found the smoking gun. And I'm virtually certain it was just me, the cat, and the general manager. And so I can picture the cat's face, like verdict. The dumbfounded reaction. And he goes, "How do you explain this, Jim?" And he goes, "What? You think I was really tickling him?" He goes, "Tell me you're not serious. You really think I was tickling him?" I go, "I got to tell you, Evan, the copy's just ridiculous." And I was laughing because I couldn't get through it because it's so absurd. This gentleman who is 15, 16 years older than me and also a male, and we're hetero gentlemen.
Yeah, Sadly.
at least at the time I was,
Right.
was not tickling me
Right.
under the table.
Right.
For the record, because apparently you thought that that was really going on. And I think they were about to put a bullet in a cat's head over that. Dead serious.
Ticklegate.
Holy shit. Yeah, what the fuck was I talking about?
05.
Oh, yeah. I leave KMOV. February 16th, 2004, I believe was my last day. And I absolutely 100% chose to leave KMOV. However, now there was no inside STL message board. There was obviously no Twitter, Facebook, anything like that. On this message board that at the time I did post on, and I'm not proud of that, but I did it. Similar to now, I'm the target of whatever, a wing of people that just want to see me fail, and they were convinced that I had gotten fired. Now, we're talking about, so for me to look back on this and have to acknowledge that that bothered me, I'm not proud of it, but it did, and we're also talking about a tiny message board composed of a few hundred people in St. Louis, Missouri. It couldn't be more irrelevant to my present at that time or my future at that time. But being emotionally immature as hell, I allowed it to consume me and would make references to it on the show constantly, and said on February 16th, 2005, when my non-compete was up, because by definition they were allowing me to do radio because my non-compete prohibited me from doing radio as well as television, I would tell the whole story. And then the time came, and there was a story. It's not all that titillating, but I'm like, now I'd be like just like shitting on Steve Savard and KMOV, and the reality is I know Steve's a good guy. Like, he's just a good guy. Like, it'd be one thing if he's a bad guy, but he's a good guy. And then KMOV gave me like the greatest opportunity of my life. Now, by the time it was over, I obviously didn't really enjoy it because I left. And the best part was I was making more money doing radio, which was, when it got down to it, the reason I left, because that way I could just work Monday through Friday, 7 to 10, and do the show and not have to work nights and weekends. And also, it just didn't pay that much, and it wasn't going anywhere. I probably would have gotten laid off within the next 5 years had I stayed. But anyway, neither here nor there. I was irritated by something that happened, but still, it's like when I see like some personal news, and I just know it's somebody who wants sympathy on social media, and I just want to go, go get a fucking job and shut the fuck up. But that was me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Little Pesci came out there, and I like it.
But that was me.
Yeah.
So I got to own it. So yeah, that happened, and I'm not proud of that. And I remember I hadn't talked to Steve Savard since the time I had left there until we had him on this podcast.
Oh, boy.
13, 14 years.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't see him, but still. And I think deep down, and I actually think, and he has every right to, because it was like this. God, I want to use a word to describe myself, but I probably can't do it. You'd hear it at Lincoln Financial. But it's about me. It was like this behavior was so just like gross.
Yeah.
Like kind of passive aggressively taking shit, like the shit I hate. Taking shots on the radio, like just a bitch. And he has every right to still be irritated by that, because we were like friends. Sure. I mean, there's an age difference, but still. And then I have him in on the podcast, and the first thing I say, you could probably go back and listen to it. I'm like, I owe you an apology, man. I said, I'm going to do this on the podcast. And then I look back on that, and I'm like, I shouldn't have done it on the podcast. That should have been like a private thing. And then maybe we can talk about it on the podcast. But then it was like, now it's for show, which it wasn't. But I'm like, I feel like if we're going to talk, I got to, because even though it's 13 years old. And he said it didn't really bother him, but he was aware of it. He goes, it's not like I was listening, but I'd have people say things. And I'm like, God, I'm just like, it was just so wrong. Now, I was wronged, I guess, for lack of a better term. I mean, that's an extreme use of the word. I was told something was going to happen that didn't happen. That's and it made me make a career decision and not take another job, and that's disappointing. And it's been 20 years. That fact doesn't change. So that was wrong. You know, like that'd be like me when I ran 920, and let's say you were there, saying you were going to get a certain job, so don't take this job, and then the time came to give you the job, and then I didn't give it to you.
Yeah.
You'd have every right to be pissed off at
switch.
me. 100%. 100%. Now, with that all said, be a fucking man and handle it off the air. You know what I mean? So I suppose I'm glad that I didn't air it out, but still, don't tell the audience you're going to do it, and then the time comes, and then you don't do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I feel like that's a little different than like outright lying.
Yeah.
But I see where you're coming from.
Let's see. So I've asked for people to spot it. Let's see. I don't see any ones yet. Yeah, I found it different. And they're talking about TGL. And Doug Joseph is complaining that there are ads like the Dickens on the YouTube, Jackson.
Google's got to get theirs. I don't know what to tell you. YouTube Premium is an option. I can't really do much about it. Sorry. I
pay for that $17.99 a month for YouTube Premium. I love it.
Yeah, it seems like it's the next thing. If I were to get another subscription site, that would be the next.
Is that right?
That would be the next thing I would do. But at the moment, I feel like I'm at my capacity. I don't have Paramount Plus anymore, though. I nixed that.
I'm glad I decided to do it. Let me tell you that. Let's see what we got here. All right, I always say I'm going to get to the emails, and then I don't get to the emails, so I want to try to make sure. But I don't know how many people who listen to this podcast and those who are live with us on YouTube use Outlook. You say you've had no issues with it. I've been having issues with it left and right. That's why I was reading the emails of the day from the chairman's laptop today.
It's a finicky.
Design, air, heating, and cooling email of the day.
It can be a finicky platform, especially like when you're like, because companies have their own. It's
currently working right now. So
things. It's a whole thing.
All right, Marcia's Burner here. I'm just going in order. Marcia's Burner here is a new TMA listener, so this is a 101 guy. I have come to love the email of the day. I'm no social media guru, but I think clips of that could do numbers on TikTok or Reels on Instagram. I would love to be able to listen to a best of email of the day. Not sure if that's possible or not. Keep up the good work, guys. Have a safe trip, Piddles. Thanks. That's from Marcia's Burner.
I can answer all of that.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jackson Burkett.
You can hear not one, not two, but 3 different supercuts of some of the finest email of the days on TMA All Day that plays on 105.7 HD2. They're about 30 minutes apiece. One of them is the two of them are just like the all-time great emails. The third one is the best of Hoffman reading emails.
Right,
Brian Hoffman reading emails. So you've got almost 90 minutes of email of the day content there.
But he's looking for social media.
So I would say on that is sometimes with the emails, they are in reference to stuff said on the show that day, and without the context of what happened in the show that day, I think it would be lost upon some people who just come across it.
All right, there you go, Marcia's Burner. I hope that sassifies you. But we have come back after Jackson. He's going to be on a train this weekend.
But we have posted stuff from Email Today on social media before, and it's like an email from Tunnels 12,000. Usually doesn't have to do with the show that day that plays.
I feel like I don't know. I mean, Chairman Kurt's the one who does the reels, and he doesn't even work. I mean, he's for the record, Chairman Kurt, because now it's like, oh, Kurt works for free. He just, and I'm like, no, he doesn't. That'd be insane.
Right.
But Kurt's main employment is Sound Story. He handles the production, the scheduling of Sound Story. And by the way, not that anybody really cares, but I'll say it, he deserves it, does an A+ job at it. But loves TMA, and Hubbard pays him hourly, so it's not like it's a full-time gig. Anyway, his full-time gig, Sound Story. Digressing, I just feel like there's so much opportunity with the clips. But then I go, okay, what does it get us? I don't know. I have no idea. And I know this, and this is, you know me well to know it's not passive-aggressive. Going, hey, Jackson, why aren't you? Because you're doing so much shit as it is. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what the solution on the whole thing is. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, it's because there's like also such thing as like oversaturation of certain things, but I think social media is obviously a powerful tool, and curious to see if it'll stay powerful after Sunday if they do end up.
You think TikTok's going away?
I don't. I think that they're gonna, because they're in the Supreme Court. They're talking about it. Like I think that ban will get blocked before Sunday.
I love TikTok.
I know, and so many people love love TikTok, and
I
it's,
love TikTok.
you know, there's like data mining. Like I feel like all of my data has been mined. Like I feel like at this point, take it all from me, baby. Accept all those cookies. I'm pounding on accept all the cookies. Take my data, have it. You know, just don't steal my identity. That's fine. But if you want to curate my ads for me, so be it. You know, that's what I say. So don't ban TikTok.
Current retirement projection, age 58, $2.5 million, 100 PA income. What does 100 PA mean? 100K PA income.
Physician's assistant.
Physician's assistant. You think that's what it is?
It's the best guess. Better guess than any. Is that someone like sending like in their Dave Ramsey profile? And we're going to break it down.
I don't let anybody follow me on because I'm not going to post anything.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'll get the follow request. Do you let people follow you, or do you post anything
on Instagram?
Yeah. No, on TikTok.
Oh, I don't know. My TikTok account isn't even have my name. It's like user.
Yeah, I think mine's T McKernan TMA.
I've never posted on anything. I don't even like or even really follow that many people. I don't either. I let my For You page
scroll like the Dickens.
The algorithm curate it for me. It knows what I like. Golf and basketball, baby.
Yeah, I got a lot of
movie
golf.
clips.
Got a lot of golf.
Get a lot of Goodfellas clips recently. It's awesome.
Let's see. All right. Hey, Tim, since the move to 101, I've noticed that while the content has obviously been more sports-related than it had been for a number of years, the overall style of the show hasn't changed much. For instance, the ribbing that takes place still occurs. I have noticed that more of the ribbing is directed at Jackson. For example, the new persona of Libby Jackson, is that your persona?
I wouldn't say that. It's not in my bio.
The listeners who've given you that.
I was once Pringle, and now no one calls me that. So
yeah, that's interesting.
Things age out. Things age out.
Libby Jack that has been coined by some in the audience. In the past few years, the ribbing was more directed at Iggy and even Plowsy to a degree. Have you or Jackson noticed that he is getting more of the ribbing?
I mean, yeah, but that's just natural. I'm the youngest guy on the show. My role is one of, as producer, so that is naturally a ribbed position, and it doesn't bother me in the slightest. It's part of the deal.
Another question that I thought of is related to and for Jackson.
Ooh.
During your recent vacation, Tim had asked what you did. You mentioned sleeping in and relaxing. Did you listen to TMA at all? Would you ever see yourself listening to TMA if the show was still around, but maybe you just moved on? It appears that Prod Joe listens, but other producers or board operators weren't, quote, fans of the show like you were before you started working on it. I don't really know if they listen, and I genuinely wondered if being connected to the show, now your perspective might be different. Thanks, guys. That is from Dan.
Dan.
Not Dan Beal, for the record.
To Dan's question, when I'm on vacation, I have listened for a second. I remember when I went out to my buddy's bachelor party in Scottsdale last year, driving to the airport, my dad had it on in the car while we were driving to the airport, but that was the extent of which I listened to it. Not because I'm not on it. Why would I? This is nonsense without me. It's just when you have a day off of work, or you let me just fire up some spreadsheets from work. It's our job, so I don't necessarily I try give myself some space. But if I were to leave and TMA was still going on, absolutely, I'd still listen. 100%.
Yeah.
100%. I was a huge fan before. I'd be a huge fan forever.
God bless. Let me go to the next one in the inbox. Hey, Tim and Jackson, long time no see. I wanted to let you know that I have really enjoyed the show since it's moved to 101 and really appreciate the added energy that Martin has added. I'm confused by why his onboarding is taking so long, though.
That's a good question.
Me thinks this may all be a ruse, and he's not really doing onboarding at all, and he might only be doing the show for 3 hours each day, but that isn't really any of my business. That would go under the auspice of a tight read, tight read. What I want to ask about is the show philosophy. I mean, I can end the email right here because there isn't one,
right.
But I'll continue. What I want to ask about is the show philosophy and current iteration versus previous versions. I might have this wrong, so correct me if I misstate things, but I hate when this happens because I know these people aren't like hillbillies who can't write, but I don't know. Then I lose my when there's just a misstatement. so correct me if I misstate things, but I thought you spoke of letting the show be awful. I did. That happened in May of 2013 when we were leaving 590, the fan, which was about to become 590, the man, and it kind of didn't matter what we did for those 2 months because we were going to be leaving. That's where Let It Be Awful came from.
Right.
But that was not saying, oh, we shall let it be awful in infinity.
Yeah.
But yes, that did happen in May of 2013. I took this as a general feeling that you didn't have to script out every single thing. We don't script out anything, still to this day. And that you would let things occur and flow naturally, warts and all. And I would say that we continue to do that. Yeah. The best comedy are things that just happen out of nowhere, like the Mike Lee Deke Dotem reference. I have noticed in some cases, since Martin has rejoined the show, that there have been cases where things start to go off the rails with a caller and he attempts to land the plane and get out of it. When I start to hear this, I start yelling at the radio for him to let the segment breathe and take things into the cringy areas where I find the most comedy. So I am curious, how much of the Let It Be Awful philosophy do you think all of the TMA players ascribe to? So this is a case here. Jackson knows my sensitive spots.
Yeah.
When someone takes something that is an assumption and then builds a premise off of it that is not accurate. So in this case, Let It Be Awful was something that came during a time when we were playing. And what a strange thing, by the way, that my contract called for. They could say, all right, we want to move you out of the time slot, but you still have to stay on the air for 120 days. Or they had to pay me a large amount, still to this day, I would say a large amount of money. And they didn't do it.
Wow.
And I kind of in hindsight, but I understand, this is Dan Marshall.
Mm-hmm.
I heard rumblings that he was thinking about doing because we were driving him up the wall. It would have been the greatest thing ever. I mean, we're talking about, I don't think I can, it counts.
Right.
This isn't like $5,000. Mm-hmm. This is, it counts. And I didn't even write the clause. And I don't think I had the people I have working with me now on contracts, they weren't working with me way back then when I did that deal. I don't even know when that was. That happened in 2013. I don't know when I signed that contract. But either way, it was a lovely clause. So then we just were like, okay, we're sitting here, we're leaving. This guy is treating people horribly. He's not letting Joe Roderick in the building. His wife just had a baby. He's going to go broke. I mean, that's a lock. It's just a matter of how quickly it happens. Okay, well, just come in here and fuck off, whatever. But that was not, I guess what I'm saying is that wasn't like going forward.
Right.
Ad infinitum? Ad infinitum?
No, this is Latin. This
is my language.
Your Latin prowess.
Thank you. So I'm curious how much of the Let It Be Awful philosophy, but there isn't a Let It Be Awful philosophy. Do you think of all of the TMA players ascribe to, or am I interpreting Let It Be Awful was meant to say about the show? See, I jumped him and I shouldn't have because he put the disclaimer on the back end. As always, not caller Adam. P.S. Again, I'm enjoying the show. Here is what I can tell you about what I think on that. Doug doesn't give a fuck. Jackson doesn't give a fuck. Well, you give a fuck, but you don't give a fuck about the content.
No.
You get tight about production-y stuff.
Yes.
And I don't give a fuck. Martin, I've noticed this. Still, it takes me back to when Doug was doing TV, and when the cat was doing TV, and when Charlie would fill in and was doing TV. And there's just you're not fully able to jump out of the plane.
Right.
When you're doing TV. That's what I think it is. Now, I get it because I did television, and from my standpoint in 2025, especially with people, I don't even know what age range you would want to talk about, but certainly 20s without question, I'd say 30s and 40s without question, and maybe 50s, how local television news is viewed as a part of the daily routine versus, say, podcasts or watching a show on YouTube.
Yeah.
The world's a hell of a lot different now. So I have zero interest in kissing the ring of local television when, I don't know how to say it without it coming off. But, it's just its importance isn't, maybe what it, it's like I work for the train company.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that was lovely.
Not the salad
plus
days.
years. Yes, exactly right. So I don't give a fuck, but I don't have to give a fuck. Sure. Martin does work there.
Yeah.
So I understand that. But now it's not like Martin has said, hey, we got to be careful here because the TV station. That is my read. Sure. I could be wrong on that. But Doug had to deal with it. The cat had to deal with it. Charlie had to deal with it. It is liberating to not only not work for a team. It's not like the Blues go, hey, hold on a second. They never said a word to me. St. Louis University's they're bringing in stuff for us tomorrow. And Josh Schertz is coming in again, I think next week, actually, now that I think about it.
Yep.
He's already been in studio twice and loves the show. And Chris May, who I have not met, I guess he's the AD. Mm-hmm. I guess I might meet him tomorrow because he's coming in with gifts for us.
Yep.
But I'm still not beholden, nor is Doug, nor are you, and nor is Martin for that matter. Martin just has the local TV thing, and the local TV thing, whatever it is, they have, I guess, this. I personally, I think if local TV were to okay, we can't do what we've been doing forever. It's not working. It is, I guess, for the people who are a little older. Let's put on a product with some younger people and do some different things. Maybe you could actually, rediscover something there. But whatever, outside of turning every cloud that might carry snow into town as if it could end the world. Martin's never said, hey, we can't say this. I also think it's just when the letting it of it be awful goes back to when you can just how long have we been going here? I'm going to go a half hour. Fuck, I don't know.
We have been going, 42 minutes.
Okay. When you have that, we just wander because I'm not like how I am when I'm doing the show in 101. I'm like, okay, I could go here, but then if I do this, I might run late, and then that's going to push this. So it's a different deal.
Yeah.
So that's going to automatically change it with a clock that you have to at least try to adhere to, and that's what our bosses want us to do, and that's what we do.
Quick interjection here, Tim.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jackson Burkett with a quick interjection.
Sad piece of news again. Rest in peace, David Lynch, a legendary surrealist filmmaker. Twin Peaks is what he's most famous for, but Blue Velvet and Mulholland Drive are two outstanding movies. Just died today at 78.
78 years old, David Lynch, 4 hours after the passing of Bob Uecker.
Yep. Some would say brought transcendental meditation to the cultural forefront, and I think a lot of actors and celebrities credit him with teaching about TM, as they call it.
You ever meditate, bro?
Yeah.
Do you really? Daily?
Not daily. I used to have an app that was really helpful with that. It's called Headspace. No free ads, but Headspace was cool.
Yo.
But yeah, I mean, it can be as simple, you could theoretically just be in the shower, just not thinking about stuff, Is
this like gooning?
No, gooning I think eventually gets you to a pretty tranquil place. But I think that TM is more just focusing on your breathing and trying to free your mind up. And it helped me. It's helped me before.
David Lynch. I'm not all that familiar, but I am familiar.
He is, I would say, an acquired taste because surrealist movies are kind of extremely acquired. You have to be really. I'm honestly really not that into surrealist stuff, but Mulholland Drive and Blue Velvet are.
And there was lesbianism in Mulholland Drive.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
It's always a great. If I were a director, I would make sure that were the case. But I don't know if people would catch on to it, like Quentin Tarantino and Bare Feet.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if Quentin's ever had lesbianism in his movies. Kill Bill.
I have to think.
Kill Bill. There's some moments of Jackie Brown, but not really. Reservoir Dogs, absolutely not.
Where's the lesbianism in Jackie Brown? That's with the great Bridget Fonda and Pam Grier.
Pam Grier, yeah. I'm honestly, it's undertones, I would say.
Oh, is that right?
Well, I just think Fonda was, if a beautiful woman walked up to her, she would know what she was doing.
Well, I think that with every woman.
Exactly. Inglorious, no. Django, no. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's ever been lesbianism.
All right.
Yeah, it's a shame.
He needs to get on that.
Margot Robbie dances with other women in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but I wouldn't call it sapphic.
Boy, can you imagine if that would have happened with her.
I'm going to look up best lesbian. No, I shouldn't do that. Best lesbian movies.
I'd be happy to.
Yeah, I'll do it.
All right, anyway, going back to this question that I read an hour ago. Any more details on the spring training trip? More excited by this than the actual Cardinal season. I can attempt to answer this. So traveling to that area of the country is incredibly expensive. I mean, hotels in the Jupiter area, not only are they oftentimes booked up, but they are absurd. And I have seen the increase in the prices over the years, and I feel like when I started going down there 20 plus years ago, it was like in the, for a Holiday Inn-ish type property, $175 a night. And now for that, you're in the $450 plus range, and that's before you get all the fees.
Which falls in line with like the increase that has gone on in the South Florida region over the past 5 years.
Right. So that is an issue. The Cardinals didn't 100% confirm it until yesterday. As far as the interest level of Hubbard, they're completely interested. No question there. As far as our schedules, Jackson, Martin, Doug, and myself, which would be the 4 people going, that means you got to set the whole thing up. How do you feel about that?
Well, we'll figure it out.
Well, producer Joe used to leave 2 days early to set it up.
I won't be doing that, but
and then when we would start the first show on Monday and it didn't work.
Yeah, so that's because that's exactly what happened. We'll figure it out. We always do.
Okay, it's fine. I mean, these
We'll
are
figure it
famous
out.
last words.
Well,
because they'll have the YouTube too.
yeah, I've done. Yeah.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
Now, listen,
Listen, this is a confident player. It's great that you're a confident player.
They're not
I'm talking to Ludwig Oberg here.
They're not going to send me down there just flying blind. I'll have some help.
And Hubbard has affiliates in West Palm Beach, so maybe
I'll be okay.
All right. So it's my wife's birthday during that week that we would be there. And there is nothing that either one of us enjoy more than being in that area. So I've already booked a flight for her. But for us to both be away for that whole time with a 2-year-old in particular and a 7-year-old, that's awfully difficult. So she might come down maybe in the middle of the week. But they were talking about having us all stay in an Airbnb, and I said, I know this might come off. I said, we're kind of, Doug's in his 60s, Martin's in his 50s, I'm in my 40s. I know you were like, oh, that could be fun. I'm like, I understand. If when I was 26, I probably would have said, yeah, that'll be fun.
You know me and my proclivity for just sharing houses with gentlemen.
Yeah, that's why, if anything, I took that as oh boy, Jackson thinks he's going to, have his bathhouse experience again.
Just to get to know each other a little better.
So with my wife coming down, that makes it'd be awkward. Whoever it is,
It would change the dynamics of the flop house.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And that's not fair to you guys, really.
Right.
It's like I had a bunch of buddies down in Columbia for the Auburn game, and I said, "What are you boys doing on Friday night?" And they said, "We're all going to dinner." And they said, "Come on and join us. We're going to be at this place. We'll make sure we add to the reservation." I said, I appreciate it, but my wife's going to be with me, and I know every guy knows this program. You bring one lady, just like if the girls were having a girls' night out, and then one brings the husband or boyfriend, it just changes the dynamic.
Right.
With guys, they can't fire on all the waitresses, and with the girls, they can't have the inevitable tripping that's going to go on.
Which happens every single time there's a girls' night.
I agree with you.
Yeah. It's the best kept secret in the world.
Yeah, but this podcast isn't afraid to talk about it.
This is our back and to the left.
So I can't do that. So then I asked Martin, I said, hey, any chance that Kim's going to come down? Because then maybe they can get an Airbnb for you and Doug. That'd be your fantasy anyway. And then me, Martin, and our wives could get in a separate one.
Yeah.
That might be the move.
Yeah.
But Airbnb's down there at this time of year.
Yeah.
So anyway, just like anything else, well, when you're at a business where the goal is profit and not being in Dan Caesar's column, then you build out a P&L, and so that, I suppose, is the element of uncertainty.
Yeah, the variable.
Yes. So I hope that answers the question. If not, please feel free to ask follow-ups. Is Jackson taking a Whittle train ride with the Smoky Mountain Bottoming Boys?
No.
That's from Jackson's Conscience, who I think was doing business as Jackson's drop auditor. I think. I don't know that.
And at one point was my awful dossier, I believe so.
I think it's possible.
No, it'll be with my big brother.
When will you be getting back together with the Smoky Mountain Bottoming Boys?
I never really left. I mean, we're always,
Yeah, but you're not currently in a cabin with 16 guys and 3
it's not
beds.
the Bob Dylan never-ending tour, but we're, there's another trip probably down the road. It's
what
tough.
do you guys got going on?
Well, like as you get further away from college, like
I'm telling you,
get
man.
everyone together to do a trip, it's and also being where we are, just in a location standpoint, guys in St. Louis, Chicago, and then a bunch of other places, like not that many options unless you want to spend a lot of money. It can be a whole thing. Maybe the Ozarks again. I really enjoyed when we all went to the Sagi.
That's interesting because you attack the Lake of the Ozark as a home for poors who think they have money. Why?
That gets attributed to me, and I don't think it's fair. I also don't think it's fair that whenever someone does call out the Lake of the Ozarks for smelling like human feces, that they're told that there's a bunch of big houses there.
Now there are.
Yeah, I mean, there are big houses everywhere. Doesn't mean everywhere is great. Hey, a body of water and, some cold beverages and your boys, that's a great time no matter what.
And topless divorcees who smoke quite a bit in their 40s?
Sure, everyone's invited.
Do you mind a muffin top?
Do I mind a muffin top?
Yeah, do you mind a muffin? I mean, you're a man in love.
I am a man in love.
You are a man in love.
Yeah.
How do you feel about me saying you're going to get engaged this year?
Here's Larry David again. Eyeing me up and down. That's not going to happen. But
Really?
well, not. Now you're putting me in the tough spot.
I'm trying to like figure out.
No, I mean not currently. My girlfriend's a little
Well,
younger.
I understand, but we're only 16 days into the year. There's a lot of meat left on the bone.
My girlfriend's a little younger than me, so
Is that right?
Yeah,
I guess I knew that, but like, what are we
years.
talking?
She's a couple years younger than me.
So vague. So intentionally vague.
She's 3 years younger than me.
Okay. All right.
So, she has aspirations for her career. So, and I love that about her because she is incredibly intelligent and wants to maximize that.
Ambitious women.
Absolutely, and that's exactly what she is. And so
I love ambitious women, which I guess would be considered like progressive.
Yeah.
But like, what's
Girl
the
bosses.
opposite? But I mean, I don't like. Okay, call it whatever the fuck you want to call it. But like sloth and hot.
yeah, right. Like you're not into like
Relying on other people for
Yeah.
that can be a guy or girl. That's
Sure.
not an attractive human trait.
yeah. What if the ambition is monogramming or
The self-made stay-at-home Ledoux mom who's dealing with some adversity in the monogramming industry.
or charcuterie design?
I want to be able to talk about,
Yeah.
because we have some, and you're aware of what's being worked on.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, the entrepreneur community. Let me see here, Jackson. Can we get the stocking skull cap back? That's from Beer Cats. I didn't know that it wasn't available.
No, those were limited. That's when we worked with a different company on the merch.
Oh, is that right? Really? Mm-hmm. Oh, fuck! Mike Flanagan was in here.
Yeah, I don't know how.
Are those embroidered? Well,
100%.
I don't have it. They are? Really?
Yeah, for sure. Those are stitched on.
Then I wonder how we were able to do that.
The other company we worked with was like it was a different kind of thing than we were doing with.
I don't even remember the name of the company, honestly.
S-Tail Style, great dudes, and down in Soulard, and but they we would order it in bulk.
Yes,
we would order full,
Mike Flanagan. It's so advantageous.
huge.
That he makes them as they go, so I don't have to order 100 and then stand there with my dick in my hands with 80 units of merch left, and I'm upside down on the
Right.
whole
That's
deal.
why I went with Flanagan is because of his ability.
and he, man, I'll tell you, that guy is into merchandise and he's got a thing going.
He's really
if you are looking for merchandise, I would truly recommend Mike Flanagan. Inside Bowling, I believe, is the name of the company. I just whatever, call him Mike Flanagan, but I think the company's Inside Bowling. You got those readers today, boy. That's from Jasper Lamar
I
Kraft.
saw him on earlier.
Did you? When I was working on something in the commercial break?
Yeah, I don't remember what it might have been right when I walked in.
There you go. If this allows, I want people to be able to masturbate to me.
Tuck it in.
Maybe that can be the the title of today's podcast.
Say it one more time.
I want people to be able to masturbate to me.
All right, that's title 1.
There was, how many group texts are you in?
God. Over under 15?
Yeah, I'm probably in the double-digit realm.
Yeah.
There's one with a bunch of guys I play golf with. And St. Louis Business Journal did a nice, it's called St. Louis Character, in which they interview, I guess, entrepreneurs in the area. I guess that's the theme. Okay. So a gentleman by the name of Jim Drew wrote the story, and he interviewed me, and he was in there. I think this was just last week, and the thing went up yesterday. Yeah, I thought it was not going to be up for a while. And then they had a photographer came in, guy did a great job. And as you can imagine, in the various group chats I'm a part of, the Business Journal article became quite a topic of conversation as a way to bust my balls.
Sure.
And in particular, in the one, I'm quite confident my net worth is the lowest of one of these particular group chats. And so I think they found it particularly amusing that the St. Louis Business Journal, which is probably the only local publication that they read, they wake up yesterday morning and that which is unspoken, which is I'm the poor in the group, is on the front page as, this entrepreneurial...
Little Howard Hughes.
Because I've, been able to keep together the nonsense radio show for 20 years. But I have to say this, and I mean it with the greatest of sincerity. I know you weren't in here. You were walking back and forth. You thought, because Jim was sitting, again, terrible podcasting, because, a sliver of the audience is watching this, but in this chair, which is to my left in the old TMA studio, and I was sitting in this chair, and I thought it was going to be like a 5-minute, where'd you go to school, favorite restaurants, favorite moments, like which is fine. Sure. I'm good with whatever, I ask people for interviews. When people ask me for interviews, I try to reciprocate. Ideally, they're acting in good faith and don't have an agenda when they contact me. But the door was open because the photographer was taking some pictures, and Jackson thought we were doing sound stories with open doors now. And you kept kind of walking back in confusion. And Jamie Rivers, as opposed to just being confused, he walks in and goes, "What the fuck's going on in here?"
That's on brand, and I love it. Well, so before I leave every day, I check this computer by podcasting in, but to my left, there's a computer that has all the information for TMA all day, and I just double check it. So when I leave, I don't have to come back here because I'm messed up. That has happened once before, so it sucked ass. But I thought it was like a convertible sound story where you do it doors open, ambient noise welcome.
Absolutely.
I thought that was what was going on. I was like, bold new strategy, but hey, listen, he's got to handle it.
Yeah, I just thought it was a 5-minute thing, so I never said, hey, close the door. But this guy came, I think he's like he's from New York, lives here now. I think he maybe spent some time with the Chicago paper. I don't know, but he's like I say it as a major compliment, an old school print guy. Mm-hmm. And he had researched things. He goes, "You're Timothy M. McKernan, and your father's Timothy J. McKernan." And I go, "Wow." I go, "Usually people just call me Junior because it's like Charlie. I think Charlie Marlowe, I know. His son is Charlie, but they have different middle initials, so therefore he's not a junior." Right. And then he goes, "So Sound Story Communications is the parent company of Sound Story, but inside STL Enterprises is the company that owns TMA's IP." And I'm going, how the fuck did he... I mean, this isn't like, classified, but I'm just like...
I work for the IRS.
I'm going, I guess I'm not going to be talking about my favorite place to get pizza, and the interview, in a way, I was thinking, he just had one of those old recorders, not even a phone that he set down.
Like the little, my mom has.
Yeah, your mom probably has one of those.
Yeah, she still uses it.
And in a way, I'm like, I wish I could put that up for the podcast because he asked a lot of questions that I think people who are fans of TMA would find interesting. Not necessarily like about me and my story, but about the show's story. Sure. And I said to my wife last night, I said, "God, these motherfuckers are all over me about that Business Journal article." She goes, "What Business Journal article?" I go, "There's a little Business Journal profile thing in there." And she goes, "Oh, let me take a look at it." And she goes, God, it's so nice that like she goes, it's probably weirdly, that's like the first time somebody actually like told the story of the show. And I go, yeah, it was just like it was a good faith interview with not like a, I don't know. It just was
the term circus or ringleader not used?
It was not.
Yeah.
It just was,
Right.
It was great to be able to like not have my guard up because I'm like, I
Right.
I
feel like the story's already written in a way.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that, so anyway, Jim, he did a great job, and that was a pleasant experience because that's not,
And here I was, I thought it was a sound story.
You thought it was a sound story.
Convertible sound story.
With ambient noise.
Yeah.
Let's see. I don't know what this means. All of these peoples are scammers. That's from Kyle. Jackson, do you have any idea what that means?
All these self-promoters are janky.
Nice. I mean, this is from the beginning of the podcast today, so I don't know what we were talking about. That could have been scamming. How do you track calories? Oh, I'm glad that I can be helpful here. How do you track calories? Not sure how to assign numbers to my wife's pork chops and taters, etc. It's a great question. R more in the YouTube chat. Do you use MyFitnessPal?
Used to. I use a different app when I...
Oh, what do you use now? Because it's kind of like my email here as of late. It's been slow. Like here, is it still fucking loading?
Do you use the premium version? Thank you for the nice...
Peaky Blinders?
Yeah, that was...
Yeah, I do. I was about to say I don't know, but right under it's MyFitnessPal Premium.
Yeah, that was my beef with it. Was that, no pun intended, was that the non-premium version kind of limited you, and I was using this kind of weight loss app when I really went through the great weight loss of 2023 for myself.
Yeah.
And there was like a paid app that was like all-encompassing weight loss app, and it really helped. And I was track it through there, and then once I stopped paying for that, I just stopped kind of tracking and just kind of tracking my head. Like I know on days when I'm going, this is too much, and when is a normal day.
It affects my sleep so much, and we joke. I mean, for us, it is different because we do get up so early. But I will eat dinner in the 4 to 5 range, and now my body is kind of on that schedule.
Right.
When on the weekends, if I eat later, especially if we go to dinner, it then impacts the caliber of my sleep.
Yeah.
I eat the same thing every morning. I enter the same thing in: coffee, water, banana, the protein shake. And if you're watching on YouTube, you see me drinking it at 9 o'clock. It's just, and so that's 317 calories. I think I don't know what TDEE stands for.
Is that that's your daily...
Total daily, whatever.
Yeah.
It's essentially your break even for calories expended.
2,000 calories is like the average for people.
So I say mine's 1,700. I think it's probably higher. It's because I track it all, as you know, health chart. It's probably more like 2,200. And then if there are days when I play golf and walk, or if there's a day where it's stressful even,
yeah, right,
I burn more calories. But in days when I'm walking and playing like a competitive match of some kind, I'll burn close to 4,000 calories.
Walking 18 holes burns so many.
And
carrying the bag.
I'd be curious now with wearing this Whoop, which is how I track my caloric, because MyFitnessPal doesn't do that. I'm talking like everybody gets that. So that's what I wear to track burning calories, and it also tracks the caliber of my sleep: REM sleep, deep sleep, light sleep, and when you're awake. I find it to be helpful. My wife sleeps terribly. I'm trying to get her to get on a Whoop. There's this Aura ring.
Yeah, that's what I'd be more into.
Okay.
Personally, because I don't like, I never wore a watch. I don't like wearing something heavy on my wrist, but a ring, I think I'd be into.
But to Ryan's question, or R Moore, might not be Ryan, R Moore's question in the YouTube chat. Yeah, you don't know exactly. So I'm guessing so often on what I'm entering as far as the proportions.
Like chicken breast.
Exactly. But still, just by doing it, you're going to get a ballpark idea. And it's so helpful. And in a way, once you start entering it on a regular basis, I think it's a way of self-accountability. 100%. Because if you enter a day and you're like, oh my God, I ate 3,500 calories, you know you're kind of fucked. And if you back that up, with a couple days of that in a row, that's how it all happens. Unless you're out there and, burning 4,000 calories on a regular basis, and then it works. But if you have a day, and, me at this point in my life, 48 years old with 2 kids, I'm not going to be out, lifting weights like I used to, or whatever the case might be. So that's the game. I'd be curious what I was burning like in my 20s when I was, more active lifting and so on and so forth, or even 5 years ago before I fucked up my shoulder. And I think I got to tell you, on that slap tear, I think I can get back to, we have a new client on TMA, Moritz Reusch Jewelers, and I had met John Reusch, my buddy, Doug Schlenk, who old school TMA listeners remember the cat would talk about Doug Plank, who I guess played for the Bears like in the 80s or something. I don't know. But either way, Doug Schlenk, who owns a gym, and I bet he could work around my shoulder thing and I can get back to, because lifting's such a good thing. And I'm not talking about like going back to throwing up, heavy weights, heavy for somebody my size, but just to have
probably low weight, high reps.
Low weight, high reps, 100%. That's what got me into trouble with,
Biometrics too can just in general. So good to do.
I should probably do that again. I don't know. I mean, but again, I just don't want to get injured for playing golf, because golf, and it's not like I got to be able to play because I think I might be able to play on the Champions Tour. It actually, I was talking to somebody else about this. It's my form of relaxation. And for people, I think, who get addicted to it, especially if they're in jobs where, don't get me wrong, we're so lucky to be able to do what we do. Like I always say, again, today, I'd be grateful. We had 21 years of doing this thing. But you're on, and you're also in a weird spot because some in the public feel like they have access to you, ownership of you, will contact you, and you don't know who they are, and sometimes it'll be a little strange. So it's a different kind of deal. When I'm on the golf course, nobody can get to me.
Right.
So it's my escape. And I have to say, I include that, as I'm sure other parents would, and you don't have to do this shit to feel the same way if you have young children. Now, in my case, I've been taking my older son out on the golf course just because I loved it since he was, I don't even know, 1 or 2. And now my 2-year-old, who's going to be 3 here in a couple weeks, already goes out there with me. So it's a way for me. But I love. I mean, I don't know if there's anything. I guess I'd still take lesbianism.
Right, I was going to say.
It's but next to that, I don't think there's anything I enjoy more than being out on the golf course with one of or both of my sons. It's truly my mental and emotional mountaintop.
Yeah, it's a place where you can feel at peace.
But I mean, I'm with my son. Like, I could be out there by myself or with my buddies, and it's great, don't get me wrong. But when I'm out there and it's me and my boys, or one of my boys, and it's like sunset.
It's special. Oh my God. A twilight
especially
round.
like in like Jupiter area.
Yeah, oh my God.
Oh, soft cow season.
The sky turns a little purple and pink.
And then down there, it's changed, but still, it's still an older demographic.
Yeah.
You're out there playing at 5 o'clock, and you're not going to have any motherfucker around.
Best.
It's the best. So anyway, MyFitnessPal, and I would get the premium edition, and it truly will. I'm not going to say all of a sudden you're going to be, it will help you understand what. And then also, I eat about a gram of protein for my weight, so they're from about $1.55 in protein grams, and then you can have your ratio of carbs and fats for body composition, and that's helpful as well. So yeah, I might not have eaten a lot of calories, but if I had like 250 grams of carbohydrates, that's going to be, it's going to kick things off. Again, but this isn't like a religion that you have to stick to. It just gives you an idea, and then there's a guide. Now, if you do want to like get ripped, then you're going to want to have way more protein than carbohydrates. But MyFitnessPal would be my answer. Anyway, let's see. You find estimates based on weight online. It'll always be hard to get exact numbers. Kyle, thank you very much. You said something in one sentence that took me 20 minutes.
That could be the title of
That could be the title of this entire fucking thing. Let me see if I can find anything else. Jackson should wear the yellow diaper for question of the day. It's interesting to me, and Martin talked about this, so now I feel like I'm not, because this has been Martin's interaction with Brian Bartow, who's a loyal TMA listener, that the Cardinals are good with his coming back. Well, they don't want what was the Plowhawk, what was Producer Joe. It might have been Iggy for a time, I don't know, chasing around the players. And I don't think it's because because the questions were just like dumb. Like it was like pancakes or French toast. It wasn't like, Ella Reese or Abigail Mack.
Right. Favorite category.
It was that we were chasing guys out of the field, and most of them had no idea who the fuck we were or what we were doing. And the last time we were there, Molina was on the team, and he really, I know this, Yadier Molina and Chris Carpenter, that's not like a caricature. Those guys were Bob Gibson.
Intense, yeah.
and it was going on in February in Jupiter, much less October in St. Louis or New York or Philadelphia, And I don't think they really, if they were given a vote as to whether or not the picnic table returned, they would always be voting nay.
Yeah.
I do think Martin is right. We talked about this before it even gained momentum at Hubbard, that the Cardinals are kind of in a weird spot. I don't want to say they need it, but for the first time ever, the picnic table kind of probably has a little upside.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, I think so.
That it might help some players who otherwise, people may know their names but not know their personalities. They're not stars, become recognizable. It's not to say it's like going to put them over the top or anything, but so I do think, in other words, let me put it this way. If this team were picked to win 100 games or 95 games, I'm not sure it's not going to be the picnic table anywhere. I know the little area of where we'll be, which is right in front of the clubhouse still. I'm not sure that we would be there. I don't know. I could be off. I thought the picnic table was done, period, after COVID. I thought we would never be back. And Tommy did check into it last year, and it was a no-go. And so now, with us being on 101, here we go. But I'm still not 100% sure we're going. Any thoughts?
State of the Union, yeah. That's my.
Do you have to piss? Am I going too long?
No.
I mean, we have been going an hour, right?
I'm chilling.
All right. I mean, I don't want to do the 3-hour thing again. Let's see. Speaking of the late Jay Jr., do we have a date for this year's Fan Page Club Championship? No, not at all. I mean, I guess it can keep going. I don't know. I don't really.
Yeah, it's not the top of my priority
But who
list.
organized it?
You?
No, I didn't organize it last year.
Oh, Chairman Kurt.
Chairman Kurt. There you go.
That's why I got the name Chairman.
That's right. Okay, I'd forgotten. If he would like to do it, God bless America. I mean, we are so not involved with that page,
right.
That it's. Maybe we can have the Discord Club Championship if we get the Discord going.
Yeah.
Let's see what we got going. You touched on Live a bit this morning. I don't think I've watched more than 5 minutes and don't anticipate watching more now that the two Fox Sports is covering it. Do you expect to watch more or think it'll hurt the PGA? I will most likely not watch more. Don't care. I'm not again. That's not because of Saudi Arabia. I'm not interested. I just find it.
Yeah. The tournaments have no prestige.
It's. It's like I guess something to maybe draw a parallel to it that might work would be like what was a big deal when it was Tiger and Phil, the match.
Right.
And now it's like, oh, there's a match on tonight.
Yeah.
I just view it as like an exhibition that nobody's really playing for anything that they give a shit about.
Right. And these guys playing for money doesn't like.
They just don't care.
Right.
They just don't care. It's just not, So. Like the Amex is this week, which is the tournament that Adam Long, friend of the show, won 6 years ago. And I don't know, the biggest name in the field, the biggest 3 names I think are Justin Thomas, Sung J M, and Sam Burns. How many casual sports fans know anybody other than Justin Thomas, honestly? You know what I mean?
Right.
I will probably watch it here and there in the background while I work.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if it were the Masters,
yeah, right.
It's
the whole different ballgame.
Anna Marie knows.
Yeah.
Listen, you can do whatever the fuck you want, sister, the next 4 days. God bless. But I'll be on the couch. And ideally, my boys will be on either side of me. That would be wonderful. And you're welcome to join. You're welcome to join.
You're speaking to your wife, not me.
That's correct. You're not welcome to join.
Understood.
But I need to be. I'm not like that with any PGA Tour event outside of the majors.
Yeah, maybe the players.
Yeah, maybe the players. You're right.
But outside those 5 tournaments,
I'll watch when it's there. This is a good time of year because you get the Waste Management, Pebble Beach, and Torrey Pines.
Yeah.
But again, it's not like clear the schedule. It's like, oh, I'm home. It's on. I'll watch it.
Right.
That will not happen with Live. But my reasoning is not the Saudi thing. I do think the Saudi thing is a conversation that is a bigger commentary on the U.S. economy and United States business, not what I just thought. To be crystal clear on my perspective on it, I do not think that the PGA Tour utilizing September 11th was a good faith measure of saying this is why this is not right. It was a grasp at straws defense mechanism against a company that they knew they had no chance against because they have unlimited funds, and the only thing they could do was, and I think it's personally, hey, God bless, to each their own, grotesque to prey on the exposed nerve that is the family members of September 11th. And that's what they did, bringing those people out there. And that's why when Jay Monahan sits down with Yasser El-Rumayyan in June of 2023, the families of September 11th victims are like, what the fuck is this? You're the one who asked us to go protest outside of one of their events, I think Bedminster.
Yeah.
And now you're going to do a deal with them? I mean, it was so transparent. It was so gross. And again, hey, to their credit, it worked a little bit. I don't think it's working anymore. But then people started going, hey, there are a number of American businesses that are, involved in Saudi, have Saudi investors.
Yeah.
So, that's the part that bothered me. The product on Live, it's like when Koepka would win a major, I wouldn't go, oh, wow, it's like, okay, I'm still not going to watch. I don't give a shit. But I'm also not going to settle in for the Amex on PGA. Let's see what else we got. You backed off the Savard deal. Did I get it? I guess this is Beer Cats guessing what I told the story of. Yes, that is correct. And I big time regret that whole song and dance, the way I handled that. That was not something that I would do in 2025. Let's see. I'm trying to see if I got any other questions. Otherwise, we'll land the plane, Jackson. Oh, Armour is still around. Thanks for the MyFitnessPal tip. I'm looking into that. Also, I've had the same slap tear, and doing hangs from a pull-up bar really helps out with those shoulder injuries, build grip strength too. Interesting. Yeah, I'm sure there's things I can do. I just don't want to re-injure it. And I really haven't had pain in it, like substantial pain for a few days since just January of 2021.
Mm-hmm. That's huge. Not having pain. Matters,
let's see. If anyone needs to be advice on how to be a fat, shoot me a DM. That's from Chief J. Strongblow. God bless you. I hear talks of questions for people from the winter warm-up, but who gives a shit about the questions if you don't trust what the answers are? I hear talks of questions for people from the winter warm-up, but who gives a shit about the questions if you don't trust what the answers are? I don't know what that means.
Oh, boy, I'm trying.
I hear talks of questions for people from the winter warm-up, but who gives a shit about I guess he's saying, like, if you can ask John Mazalek or Bill DeWitt questions, right. I guess.
One of my favorite things that we do on QFTA is
try to figure out what
we go back onto the comments and then try to decipher what they're in reference to. It's like a word search.
I just turned this on and have started from the beginning. I don't think people ask you questions because you have stated that you are not in charge. Okay. Dan, welcome to the program. And I would imagine people also know that Jay Randolph Jr. is not in charge and Jesse Kiowski is not in charge, and they are the ones getting questions. If John Kiowski or Tommy Madden were getting the questions, I would say something different. And if whoever was in charge at KFNS were to get questions, I would understand. Right. But Jay was getting questions about my contract, which has nothing to do with whoever was in charge at KFNS. And Jesse Kiowski manages promotions and events. And if anybody's going to perhaps be close to the vest, it would be the daughter of the market manager. Right. Not that, that I think people are asking her because they're like, oh, your dad's in charge. So I stand by my question, which I haven't gotten an answer for, although I appreciate Dan coming up with at least a theory. That is that's the case. Jay was like, I'm getting a bunch of questions about what you're going to do with your contract. I'm going, well, how come people aren't asking me? And then Jesse's like, oh my God, I got so many questions at the Hot Shots event. She goes, did you get a bunch of questions? I said, I didn't get a question. Why not ask me? I'm here to answer the questions. Getting more serious with golf this season. Before I start buying anything, are there sponsors to support? Family Golf and Learning Center. I cannot recommend Family Golf and Learning Center. They're not even a sponsor of this podcast. They're on TMA. Mm-hmm. But from instructors, full transparency, my son works with someone there. But I am there so often. I just think we are very fortunate to have that place. And you can get equipment there. But I'll say this, and I'm sure people in the golf equipment world don't want me to say it, but I don't. I got to be honest with the audience. The game that is the equipment change. It is, get the fucking swing right.
What, like before buying anything?
Because you can get a new driver, and if you have the club face open and you're coming down at the wrong angle, it doesn't matter what driver you have.
100%.
And I would imagine it's pretty obvious. Like, I'm not going to get a Louisville Slugger over on Easton and go, all right.
Yeah, now I'm Barry Bonds.
Now I'm ready.
Yeah, right.
For the life of me, what a trick that has been played on the public by the golf industry with that stuff.
I have a buddy who, I'm not joking, cannot get on, like, if we play a par 3, if we come into a par 3, he can't enter a real score because he'll hit every single ball dead. He's a lefty. Dead left into the woods. He'll hit every single time, and he'll send me pictures like, which of these clubs do you think I should get? I go, buy a fucking lesson. Yeah. You have, like, how can you play golf?
I got a Rapsodo, and man, do I think it's great. Now, I am somebody who likes golf and loves to practice. I think I like to practice more than I like to play. And I've set that thing up, and Hubbard Marty has gotten one too. And the information you get, and it's all of my swings from every swing I took on the thing is in a cloud, so I can go back and I can see them with the actual results on it. So if I really wanted to, kind of in the off season, it's not that way. That is where you see, and then it shows you your shot dispersion, so you see if you're pulling them or if you think that you hit a wedge 130 or whatever, and it's like, no, you're actually hitting it 118. Well, that matters when you're going out to, if the pin's up front and you're like 118, you can whatever. Point being, that's where I would spend my money. But get the right instructor, number one. I think that's an obvious statement, but don't just get somebody. And I'm happy to answer questions on that. And then secondarily, I think having a Rapsodo, and it's so easy to set up, you can get the information immediately after you swing it. That's where you're going to, and I realize, I play a lot and I practice a lot and whatever, I guess statistically I'm a decent player, but you don't have to be a 2 or 3 handicap to be able to, if anything, it's super difficult for me to improve on my index because I got to go really low.
Right.
If you're a 20 or a 15 handicap, these small changes can have a significant impact and you can improve so much easier. Yeah. But this stuff where I see with these clubs and get these clubs, I'm just like, God, what an absolute fucking con game this is. And I get it. Hey, it's a business. God bless.
For sure.
But, you guys got to roll your eyes. Now, if you get to a point where you're a decent player, certain things can matter. Yeah. Like a ball. I hit a spinny ball, so therefore I get a lower spin ball, which sucks. I'd love to replace that. It's the way I strike the golf ball. It's not good. But anyway, point being, lessons Rapsodo all day.
Also, take online advice, like whether it be on Instagram Reels or TikTok or even YouTube, with a grain of salt. Like a lot of these...
Tiger Woods says the worst thing going in the golf industry right now is the YouTube lessons.
Yeah, because it's the Wild West, man. You'll watch one video telling you that this is the best way to fix this problem, and you can watch another video on the same problem that'll tell you the complete opposite. Like an instructor, getting a real lesson from an instructor, and Family Golf has incredible instructors. Like, they can see your swing, they can see your body type.
And see if it works for you.
Right, because there's some lessons, some tips, some fixes are different per body type, swing, age, all of these different factors. And you need someone who actually is seeing your swing, not just some guy on YouTube. Sometimes it can help.
Seeing your swing.
Right.
Here's one thing that I think can be a truth that I would imagine everybody would agree with and could not be more basic. Focus on hitting the face of the golf club. If you could just focus on, that's all you care about. That's all you care. Just that. Hit it square in the face. I realize not everybody can do that, but if that is the focus, as opposed to, okay, am I doing this with my weight? And am I doing this with my takeaway? And, Rory can move his hips this way while he's still in his backswing. Well, that's because he's Rory and he's been playing since he was 1. My overall would be when somebody asks me what club I should get. Now, if it's one of my buddies who's +2,
right?
Number one, they wouldn't ask me, but number two, then maybe it matters. But as far as somebody who wants to get serious about the game, God. And then also, if you really care about scoring, then spend your time around the green and 100 yards and in.
Yep.
That's where, how many tee shots do you hit with a driver in a round? At the most, 13?
13 or 14, yeah.
So anyway, yeah, that would be my pro tip. That was Joey Vitale's Orange Scully. Like asking questions to management of the Cardinals. That's from MD 2020.
His previous, I hear talks of questions for people for the winter.
I hear talks of questions for people from the winter warm-up, but who gives a shit about the questions if you don't trust what the answers are, like asking questions to management of the Cardinals? So is that saying that he views me as like lying?
I don't know.
That'd be disappointing.
I think he's
from MD 2020 too, who's like I think, kind of normal person.
I think he's talking about the Cardinals.
Oh, okay.
I think like people wanting to ask questions at winter warm-up.
I got to tell you, I didn't know it, but my feelings were hurt for a second. I didn't even know I had them.
No, I don't think he's talking about you.
Family golf is such an. No, hold on. What's your highest bowling score? Boy, I used to bowl back at Redbird Lanes back in the day. Jackson, I don't even know if that was around when you were born.
I don't know.
Gravelland Hampton, perfect attendance trophy, 1984.
So that just means you showed up every time?
You taking a shot?
Well, no, but I don't know if that means something different in bowling.
So what?
Okay, hey, listen, I damn near had perfect attendance in high school.
It's interesting. I don't like that. I don't like what just happened on this podcast.
I don't know. Were you much of a bowler, a kegler?
I mean, I was into it.
Sure.
I mean, if you're at Redbird Lanes, you know, you're like at Yankee
time.
Stadium.
Right.
Yeah, it's a big time. That's exactly right. Do you have a highest bowling score?
I'm so bad at bowling.
Do you view it as a sport of the pores?
No.
Interesting. Your voice got high.
No, and me and my buddies would go to a bowling alley. They would have dollar games, it'd be like $3 to rent the shoes, and then $5 pitchers. You brought $20, you had like the best night ever. So I loved it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I've broken 200. My brother owns Epiphany Bowling Lanes. Humble brag. We got a party for my son coming up there in a couple weeks. I never want to be guys showing you video of kids,
right,
especially when you don't have kids, unless it's like, hey, look at how stupid this is. Not like, hey, look at how great this is,
sure, because
the truth is nobody gives a shit, and I'm well aware of that. But for whatever reason, I have my dad's brother, my uncle, who is not amused by much. He goes, boy, buddy, look at your boy. I've been here the whole time, and for the last hour, all he's been doing is bowling. And he's on the little thing where you push it down the
right,
and like it was like this like OCD festival where just for like an hour straight, he's
like a factory worker.
And, and I'm going, I don't know what to say. This is, you know, it was like Steve Martin in Parenthood with the kid who just rammed his head into the wall the whole time. I'm like, I don't know. He's entertaining himself. Good, we get to hang out and not have to worry about it. I guess if he drops the ball, that's going to be a problem. I'll tend to it if we have to cross that bridge.
But just by the by. I fucking love Parenthood. I think it's such a good movie.
With the great Steve Martin, based in Kirkwood, shot in Orlando.
Yeah, and it looks like it's shot in Orlando. But
is that right?
Yeah, I mean, once you know it's not St. Louis, and especially being from St. Louis, like you can just tell this is not St. Louis.
I do enjoy that. I'm
so
telling
good.
you, hold on a second. I got to get this right.
Yeah.
The line from the grandma at the end of the movie.
About the roller coasters?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
So poignant.
It truly is. Here we go. I want to give it, and some of you have seen it before. Helen Shaw was the actress.
Yep.
My guess is she is no longer with us.
Yeah, boy, if that was from 89, yeah, she looked.
Oh, it was 89. I always thought it was 88.
It was 89?
89 is correct.
Wow.
I mean, I still would have gotten it.
Sure. That and Do the Right Thing in the same year.
Well, there. What was Best Picture in 89?
89's Best Picture.
I need you to know this right away if I'm going to, because apparently we have a cash call.
Driving Miss Daisy. I'm gonna guess Driving Miss Daisy.
I think that's live.
I think 1980, but that would be 1990 Oscars, 1990 Best Picture. Of course, the next year was Dances with Wolves, stolen from Goodfellas. Driving Miss Daisy. Shout out to Morgan Freeman.
Hoke, you're my best friend.
That movie stinks.
Oh no, Dan Aykroyd.
Oh yeah. Bad.
Dan Aykroyd takes a shot.
That movie stinks.
All right, here's the line. Yeah, this is right after Joaquin Phoenix had been caught beating off.
But at the time, he was named like Leaf Phoenix or something. He went by some different name. I'm telling you.
Leif Erikson.
It wasn't Leif Erikson. But he did go by a different name when he was in Parenthood.
But he did get caught beating off.
100% with Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves, I think.
Yeah, Keanu Reeves was teaching him how to masturbate.
I think eventually that might have been a subplot.
What do you mean?
Would he teach him how to masturbate?
Like off camera?
Well, he had the porn movies, but in the Back to the Future case, respect. And then Keanu had a conversation with him. Keanu's great in that movie. He was
Do you
Lee
have a
Phoenix
problem
at
with
least.
him teaching an underage boy how to masturbate? I mean, this is a defining moment for you before you hop on this train to Chicago.
I know, but like it's like in the context of the
Because
movie.
it sounds like you're pro underage boys being
no,
instructed by older men how to
no,
masturbate.
no.
And that can be the title of the podcast.
No. In the context of the movie, yes, it is odd, but knowing like Joaquin Phoenix's upbringing, like I'm sure he was taught way worse shit or grosser. Like, yeah, that's the Phoenix family is that's a rich text, I'd say.
River Phoenix was in Stand By Me, and then he died outside the Viper.
He sure did. You ever see Mosquito Coast? Speaking of Keanu Reeves,
I have not. I assume
or not
good.
Mosquito Coast, My Private Idaho.
I have not.
Okay, great, and that's him and River Phoenix, Keanu and River Phoenix, not Mosquito Coast, My Private Idaho.
And in van, 2, 1. You know, when I was 19, Grandpa took me on a roller coaster. Oh, what a great story. Up, down, oh, what a ride. I always wanted to go again. You know, it was just so interesting to me that a ride could make me so frightened, so scared, so sick, so excited, and so thrilled, all together. Some didn't like it. They went on the merry-go-round. That just goes around. Nothing. I like the roller coaster. You get more out of it. And scene.
Yep, it's so good. And then she just goes to the
Just
car.
walks off.
Goes into the car. Steve Martin.
And then Mary Steenburgen starts arguing with Steve Martin. She said, you know, your grandmother's a very wise woman. And then Gil, he shits all over the story, and now more problems with Mary Steenburgen.
Yeah.
Because she had just announced, and Steve Martin looks like he's 60,
Yeah, I know.
that Mary Steenburgen is pregnant and passively advocates for an abortion in the master bedroom.
In St. Louis, Missouri.
In St. Louis, Missouri, no less.
Oh, man. And Cool, nowhere to be found, the young Cool.
That's right. With a degenerate gambling father.
Rick Moranis. That's not Rick
No, Rick Moranis
This
was
is,
a
no, that's he's kind of a
He
couple.
played Amadeus.
Yeah.
Rock me Amadeus. Rock me Amadeus.
Is it a shame that Martha Plimpton isn't as much in our mind anymore? She's also proudly in Parenthood, too.
Was she related to George Plimpton, the paper tiger who Matt Damon thought was trying to putt from the rough in Good Will Hunting, 1997?
No, but she...
Not related?
No, but her father was Keith Carradine.
All right.
Interesting.
Really?
But no, she's not.
So what's
related to-
Martha Plimpton doing? Is she with us?
She lives in London. She's with us.
Okay.
She lives in
What's
London.
she doing? Like
Apparently,
HT2 somewhere?
apparently her visa just ended in London, so she's.
Boy, you're dialed in.
This is on her Wikipedia. Apparently, she's stateless. But she, 1989, the year of Parenthood, she went to the 61st Academy Awards, which Driving Miss Daisy won, with River Phoenix.
Really?
Even though she starred in the movie with his brother that same year.
Who was taught how to masturbate by an older man.
And went by Leaf.
And Jackson, for the record, advocate of that.
I don't know how old Keanu is supposed to be in the movie.
At the moment, I play 1 to 2 times a year. I shoot right at 90 every time I play. I know that's not good. Never bought any equipment or had lesson. Going to see what I can do this season. Appreciate the info. That's from Joey Vitale's Orange Scully. I got to tell you something. If you play 1 to 2 times a year, don't really have equipment, and have never had a lesson, and you shoot 90, that's really good. Now, I want to make this crystal clear when I say this. This is not an accusation, but I think that maybe there could be some liberties taken with what, like if me and Joey Vitale's Orange Scully were out there gambling would be the rules. I'm not saying because he's cheating, but I didn't even know until 8 years ago when I started playing again the difference between the white stakes and the red stakes and, mulligans and picking up 6-footers if you're really keeping score. Now, if I'm gambling with motherfuckers, you're putting that out unless it doesn't matter to the festivities.
Then you do some handicap maintenance.
Then you do some handicap. Yes. We call it the
Blood
digger
by.
method. Yeah. Oh, you going to go putt this? The hole's already decided? Okay, and then it's a foot short. Amazing how that works. Diddles the Piddles. What's better than drinking and playing sports at the same time? That's from Diddles the Piddles.
Yeah.
I can't play golf effectively and drink.
Never seen you do it. Played a lot of rounds with you. I've never seen you drink on the course.
I don't know what that's about. Here's the deal, and I don't know if this is like a sign of an alcoholic, and I'm not saying that it probably shouldn't be shocking as an Irish Catholic that we have alcoholism in the family. But it's like functioning alcoholism.
Right.
For me, I don't really like to just have a beer. I like to have at least a few.
You don't like to drink for sport.
A beer.
Right.
If anything, I don't feel good.
You get a headache. Yeah.
3 or 4, I'm a fan.
Right.
But with having, like at this time in my life, I mean, everything does revolve around my children. That's not like some, hey, virtue signal thing. It's just that's how life works. And I would imagine for any of you with young children, you know exactly what I mean by it. Then I come home. Not only have I been gone for 4.5 hours, not usually popular as it is, and now I come home and I'm a tad bit shit-faced. Either my wife isn't going to be particularly delighted, or now I got the 2-year-old who we're currently in a bit of a single white female relationship in which she is Jennifer Jason Leigh and I'm Bridget Fonda. I think that's the dynamic in single white female.
I think it's a different actress.
Leah Thompson?
Yeah,
I think Leah Thompson was Back to the Future, and I think Jennifer Jason Leigh was in Single White Female with Bridget Fonda. I think. And I think she wanted to be Bridget Fonda. And was that a tribbing thing?
It was Jennifer Jason Leigh. It was Bridget Fonda.
And does it say if this was a tribbing thing?
Inconclusive. You want to reenact that scene?
What, me and you like trib here on YouTube?
Well, you just did it with our friend from Parenthood.
Well, I mean, I need a partner in trib. That could be the title.
Need a partner in trib. Perfect.
Thank you. So anyway, if I come home and this guy has gone from being as docile as the day is long to high energy, and my wife came down last night after another game of shinny hockey, and the place is a disaster. She goes, God, this is the basement. She goes, it's such a mess. It just puts me in such a bad place. I go, well, I mean, we have a 2-year-old and a 7-year-old. This is just kind of the deal. I mean, my brothers and I would play sports, beat the shit out of each other. I know my parents didn't necessarily like it, but after a while, you just kind of go, that's the deal.
Right. And they'll grow out of it and that's such.
This is the way that it is.
Right.
But it doesn't bother me because I clean it up every other day, ballpark, and then I come back down and there's shit everywhere again. You just kind of go, okay, this is the deal. Cost of doing business. This is the deal. Why I'm telling the story, I don't remember. That also could be the title.
It's something about why
it had something to do with Bridget Fonda.
No, it has
tripping Jennifer Jason.
I don't know why, but it has something to do with you not drinking on the golf course.
Oh yeah, but yeah. So if I come home, the 2-year-old who was super docile would go to bed at like 7:30, not get up until like 3 in the afternoon the next day. Say good morning. How's everybody's day?
That's the unemployed model.
Yeah. He's just turned it up a notch. Now he's not to the 7-year-old's level of intensity, but it's like last night. Felt a little kick in my back. It was not my wife saying I could use a rod ring. That was the 2-year-old who had joined us.
That's how she does it? She
Absolutely.
kicks you in the back.
Absolutely.
So hot.
I could use a rod ring. That also could be the title. Take your pick.
I could use a rod ring. Yeah, I feel like we've been lesbian heavy recently.
And it's like, this is the deal. I mean, I don't know. Have you seen the film Night Bitch?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
My wife said to me, for those of you, I know this is rare, but I think this is all men listening and watching this.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
My wife said, do you want to watch this? I said, I'm good. And she said, okay. And then about like 20 minutes later, she goes, I would like you to watch the first 20 minutes of this because I think it would help you understand me. And I kind of had an idea that that's what it's like. And I know I'm talking about this and you know what the movie is. But most of the people listening, it's Amy Adams, right?
Yep.
And to her credit, whereas you usually win Academy Awards by altering your appearance, Matthew McConaughey by shrinking, Charlize Theron by the makeup and maybe putting on some weight. I mean, Amy Adams, really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
She committed.
She did commit. It's a story of a stay-at-home mom with a, 2-year-old, I guess, and just like, and she had managed an art gallery or was an art buyer in Manhattan, and now they live in the suburbs of the New York area, and just like how she has gone from like one life to another, and how you love it, but in a way it's so taxing and repetitive.
Yeah.
And you're asked these questions that are the same thing over and over. It's like right now, like the drop, why?
Yeah.
You got to eat your dinner before you can have, my son calls Mike and Ike's Mikey Mikes.
Nice.
And I said, I can't give you the Mikey Mikes until you eat your dinner. Why? I go, because it's important that you don't just eat Mikey Mikes. Matter of fact, you probably shouldn't eat Mikey Mikes anyway. Why? Yeah. Because they're going to make you fat. Why? Because they're high in sugar. Why? Because that's how they're made. I can't win this, but I never want to say because I said so. Right. This motherfucker's put me to the test, though.
I was about to say.
He's put me to the test. Yeah. You put me to the test.
You're ready to turn the key and hit the button on because I said so.
I hear Anna Marie say because I said so. And I'm on the streak. I'm on a Ripken-like streak with these two.
Yeah.
Because it's high in sugar. Why? Because that's what makes it taste good. Why? And I'm starting now. We're starting to go into my nutrition course at Mizzou that I was in with all the secondary.
Science? I took food science. Boy, was that an easy A.
That's why I was in there with Cauldron off Easter.
But now that I'm paying back my student loans, I'm like, fuck, I wish I didn't take food science.
Hunter wants to know if there's any chance Jackson can lend me like $15.
No. Don't touch my bread. Night Bitch was my 33rd favorite movie of the year.
Like when Iggy ranked the porn stars, you ranked the movies?
Yeah. I have 40 written down here.
You did this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have 40 films, and Night Bitch was 33. Not my favorite.
I have to tell you, I'm alarmed. So, I don't want to say, I bailed after like the famous 20 minutes, but I was getting a sense where it was going, and it was going in a place that I wasn't necessarily expecting, and I was kind of going, I don't think I'm going to be in for this. And my wife goes, it's a little weird.
That's why I'm it's number 33.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Because it would have stayed more on the stay-at-home mom theme, and like that, guys who have, it doesn't matter, it doesn't have to be a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
You know, but I get that. But then it goes, I'm like, hey, if you want, you can get a job. It doesn't have to be, do whatever you want to do. You know, I feel like whatever's going to make you happy. I'm in here and I'm toiling in the mines of HD1, sister.
Yeah.
And I ain't got time.
You come back covered in soot.
Thank you. With takes.
And a metal lunch pail and thermos.
Like Derek Zoolander.
Yeah, very similar.
Pop, I think I got the black lung. Would love to get it to around 82 to 84 consistently by the end of the season. Sorry, I'm just gabbing. Excited to get into it, though. It's from Joey Vitale's Warren Skeleton. Well, I love hearing that.
Focus
short
more on
game.
Shots than score, I feel
See, I don't have a problem off the tee. I don't necessarily bomb it, but like it's not going to do like, I think for a lot of people, and you and I play a lot, the game gets so frustrating because they hit that shot that does this for a right-handed golfer, and I'm doing like a big slice gesture for those of you listening to the podcast, not watching this, and that's got to be torture. And then if you really are playing by the rules, and that's white stakes, now you're hitting 3 off the tee, and then you do it again. Now you're hitting 5. Like your round is just gone.
Cooked. Yeah.
And then you go, put me down for a 7. Yeah, but in reality, you might have like a 13.
Yeah.
So then you go out there with some asshole like me who's like, all right, I'm going to take your money. I don't give a fuck what you make. Yeah. I'm going to beat you. And you tell me you're a 12 handicap because you don't really play by the rules. And now it's just like, okay, we're going to go 5 and 4. And this is going to be over. And you need to learn to play by the rules. But not until you play me again, because I want to continue to take your money because I am a prick. That also could be a title. And that's evergreen.
Yeah, but I really like, do you want a Roger?
Do you want a Roger?
Yeah.
It was either none or 20 beers for me, and yes, I'm a recovering alcoholic. Doggy season ticket. See, that's the thing. I kind of wonder if I have alcoholism in my blood, and that's why.
Could be.
Like the guys that I play with, you've played with plenty of them. I mean, they're always drinking, and I just don't want to. It's not like, oh, I don't know, you know, like I'm drinking a cranberry and vodka at the DeBerg mixer.
Yeah, Cape Cod.
Is that what those are called? Really?
Cranberry vodka, Cape Cod. Yeah.
You know, it's just like, I just want to play, and there's a chance, as you know, that I could win or lose a few $100s with these guys.
Right.
And I know I'm not going to play as well. It's not like I'm like nervous over a putt. I just don't feel great.
Right.
That's the issue.
To me, like crap.
Afterwards, I'll sit there and have some booze.
I've seen that. To me, and to that point, like to me, like Friday round, like afternoon with some buddies, like just the idea of like cracking the beer is like, weekend starts now, and you crack the beer, and there's something to
and then you're bullshitting, and I like the bullshit. That was one of the questions that Jim Drew was the writer for the Business Journal. He asked me, did you read that by chance?
No, I am.
Thank
unfortunately,
you for your support. Go fuck yourself.
I am not a subscriber. I
love the Business Journal, and it doesn't have to be like, you don't have to be involved in business.
Right.
They do outstanding work, and I realized they just wrote a nice story about me. Lovely, wonderful. I would have told you this. Okay, yeah. I mean, it's journalism, and I don't throw that around like ever. Actually, it is really well done, and it's refreshing. Now, I mean, you have to be, but you're a sharp guy. You'd enjoy it. It's good. It got nothing to do with the little thing on me. Where the fuck was it? Oh, yeah. He goes, so at the end of the interview, I mean, and I'd already talked to, and I kind of talked about the Pools, Jack Clark thing. I mean, to his credit, he got me comfortable. I'm like, yeah, at some point I'll tell the whole story. I go, it was represented one way. It's the way it was represented was total bullshit, but I couldn't do anything because I couldn't say something and fuck up our insurance policy, whatever. So bullshit was written. People think things. I can't control it, whatever.
Right.
You know, my goal is to be a scratch golfer and have a threesome, Jim.
And you let him know. You said, the only way I'm allowing this is that's the last sentence.
And he goes, final question for you. He goes, what makes you tick? And I go, God. I go, that's like a...
Yeah, it's pretty open-ended.
It is, but because of the context of the interview, I'm like, it's such a simple... And as somebody who's done, you know, a sound story, especially so many interviews, I'm like, it's such a simple question, but in this context, I know what you're... I don't want to say I know what you're doing because it wasn't manipulative. It's like, I think you're kind of like this guy's a little fucking goofy, so I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Mm-hmm. And I go, God, that's actually a good question. Let me think about it. I go, I hate small talk, and I do hate it. But I hate small talk not because of like the politeness, I suppose, of it, but I want to be able to be free to say what I want to say. Right. That's why I love, and I think you love, this particular, as Martin Kilcoyne would call it, vehicle.
Yes.
There's no commercial breaks. If I want to use profanity, I can use it. If I want to talk about whatever, I can say it. What was that?
Rogering or
Rogering. Thank you very much.
Or reenact the end of Parenthood.
And I'd like an award for that.
One-man play, which I wish you would do a one-man play. I'll be front row for that.
I said, but... Whereas I hate small talk, I love a conversation where I know that, like, because he kept bringing up over the course of the interview, this guy did his research. He goes, the interview, now he didn't really write much about it, but the interview that we did with Bill DeWitt III, which is at this point like 2 months ago.
Yeah, November.
And he's like, that was really something else. And then he might be watching it now. Hi, Jim, you did a wonderful job.
Hi, Jim.
He goes, but then I watched your QFTA the other day, and I'm like, oh, boy.
Which one, the 3-hour one?
Yeah, did you stick around for all 180 minutes? Did you have the Irishman running parallel? And he goes, so on that's different. And I go, well, boy, I would say. Yeah. And he goes, but the interviewing, I said, I love, when I can tell, and I think that's why I love Sound Story. When people come in here, they're here to tell their story. It's not like a boxing match where I'm going to ask the question and then they're going to get out of the way, you know, which was like my Marcus Allen interview. And I love Marcus. Great guy. I was lucky enough to play golf with him a few times. But man, was he just so deft at, you didn't know it if you didn't know, but if you knew, you knew, swatting away the questions, but he would do it so delicately. And I'm like, ooh, this guy's good, man. This guy's good. But when I have a guest, whether it's Bill DeWitt III or, I don't know, who else? There have been some great interviews. Armstrong was great when he came in, and you're not even a hockey guy.
Shirts
certainly. When you know you have somebody willing to talk.
Yeah.
And the thing that I've oftentimes said, and if you listen to me on this podcast in particular, I will say, when somebody uses profanity and then they go, oh, can I say that? At that point, I know they're not even thinking about the microphone, which means it's a lean-in conversation. Give me that all day. Lesbianism 1, golf with my 2 sons 2, a lean-in conversation, whether it includes booze or not. That's my shit. And I go, I think that when it comes to like this industry, that's what makes me tick. I love it. It doesn't have to include a guest when we get into a topic, whether it be on this or on TMA, where I'm like, I know that, you know, at least 2 of the guys on the show are engaged in the conversation. And then ideally, and it's usually, it's a natural byproduct, then the audience is engaged. It doesn't have to be me. It could be Martin and Doug. It could be you and Martin, you and Doug, whoever. It doesn't matter. That's what I love. I love that. That's what I love. I love that more than what I think people who casually know about TMA think, which is I like to talk about pornography and sit and giggle all day. You know, that's really more of who I actually am. And at this point in my life, anyway. And I'm like, man, that was because of that was an astute yet incredibly simple question. And anyway, that's how that interview finished, was what makes you tick.
Right.
And I thought about it, and I'm like, yeah, I think that's what it is. I love conversation. And furthermore, I included it in the answer. I actually kind of like conversations with people that I disagree with, you know? But it's not like I'm trying to
Like a
win
debate.
thing.
Right.
Yeah, like the first take stuff, you know, or a political thing where it's like whoever can get off the best line wins, even if it's not rooted in facts, or, you know. I'm not interested in that.
Sure.
I feel like there was a question in here which reminds me of that. Asking you about if you've ever disagreed with me. And I thought it was one of the ones that I already read, but I didn't see it in there unless it was like a PS. Like if you are, even though you know I'm not your boss, if
Right.
you are averse to disagreeing with me. And I
would say
don't feel
that.
like you are, but I mean, only you can answer that.
No, I think we disagree on some things, like philosophically. And
What? What do you think it is?
probably our stance on like some parts of American capitalism. You know?
Like what?
Like I have some. I think some parts of American capitalism is like so cannibalistic that it's hard for us to like actually truly be moral with the system we have set up. Like,
Are you thinking of any particular?
I'm trying to like think of it like an instance or something where like, but like I don't know, like I just think if we were to have like some philosophical disagreement, because I think philosophically on a lot of things we are in lockstep on, but I think like some elements of American capitalism we disagree on. But
Yeah, I'm a let the market decide.
right, and
And you are not, I guess? Is that what you're saying? I mean, I don't
Yeah.
want to simplify it to like
Sure.
a slogan, but
I think there's such like, and I'm not trying to put words in your mouth and say you don't think this, but like I just think there's such economic inequality out there that things could be done differently.
and what would you do in order to tend to said economic inequality?
Corporations owning real estate, like that's like single family homes, like that's like to me like the biggest what the fuck, like how we allow that to happen. And I'm not saying that you are like
No,
you have a shell corporation that buys homes.
I want to have a because I didn't know where you were on certain
Sure.
things. I think like on social things, maybe you may be more to the left on me. I guess.
Probably, yeah.
But see, I'm like really anti. I'm not anti-religion. I'm anti-dogma. I'm anti-blindly following a cult of personality or a story from 2,500 years ago.
Right.
You know.
Right.
That's and I sure as hell, and I think we're probably on the same page on this one. I feel like we are currently experiencing the injection of a needle of theocracy into the United States right now. But because there's another bright, shiny object over here, the injection of the theocracy is being ignored. And I'd just like to call attention to that right now in the same podcast in which I acted out the final scene of Parenthood.
Yes.
Hey, did you hear that guy talk about the injection of theocracy in the American government? Yeah, is that the same one where he acted like Helen Shaw in Parenthood? Yeah, but just wait another 15
That's the
minutes.
thing is like people probably like might eject after the Helen Shaw thing, but then they're going to miss out on that poignant statement you just made.
So you agree with that statement?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's going on.
Yeah.
What the fuck's that about?
I
How the
think-
hell's that happening?
I think it's because of the rise in popularity of legalized sports gambling, and
That ties into the injection of theocracy?
well, when you like, what do you mean by the injection of theocracy? Like simplify just a slight.
Sure, no problem. Happy to answer. We're a Christian nation. The fuck?
Right.
And then how me, as a Catholic, I'm not Christian by this definition of Christian. I'm fascinated by this whole thing.
Right. So I think that with the
Not that I get, I mean, I don't, you can call me whatever the fuck you want to call me, but I'm saying like, how is it, like, this is like something you would have expected to be going on 100 years ago, and somehow we're like going backwards on this. And one of the issues supposedly with these nations in particular in the Middle East,
Right.
because if you want to look at, the majority of Asia, it's not like that's Christian or Muslim,
Right.
but that kind of gets not talked about. Well, these are theocratic states in the Middle East. Okay, well, what we got to kind of doing some of that here
Right.
now, And I know you are a Jewish gentleman. I'm not saying it because you're Jewish. I
Right.
don't give a fuck. You could be as evangelicals the day is long. Doesn't matter. I'm not going to change my stance. This is what I think, and I see it going on, and I'm in awe of it happening. And I think plenty of the people espousing the views are the furthest thing from deep down privately being Christian, like in the slightest. But it's a means to an ends, and therefore we will publicly say all of this stuff that deep down we don't believe.
Right.
Like, I don't think Barack Obama was a Christian, and I don't think Donald Trump's a Christian.
Right.
So I'm not looking at it from any particular angle. Like,
Right.
I don't think Barack Obama deep down really believes, I know he's going to church and all of that.
Sure.
And I sure as hell don't think Donald Trump deep down really believes.
Right.
And by the way, I don't either. So it's not like me chastising them.
No.
I just am looking at it from different points of view.
Right.
That's where I'm coming from.
I think it's become more like people are being opportunistic because of you have legalized sports gambling all over the place and commercials all the
Trying to
time.
follow the legalized. I'm very interested in this perspective.
We have that, and mixed with like you read stories all the time about the OnlyFans stars making all this money and the rise of pornography kind of being normalized in the general sense. And so
Okay.
people are saying like, "Are you tired of sports gambling and ads? And are you tired of hearing about these women on OnlyFans?" I am this evangelical.
Yeah, well, see, that's interesting. I don't see it. I could be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't see that group going after like sports gambling and OnlyFans.
I don't think
they are going. The thing with I think Pornhub's been shut down in Florida. I'll let you know here in a couple weeks.
and I think Alabama too.
How's that? Stunning. Yeah, I mean,
I'm telling you, yeah.
yeah, and then so then the thing is, when somebody it's such a wonderful little game of gotcha to watch somebody have the balls truly to go, well, this is ridiculous. And then the way that it's immediately spun if you're on one of those hand job cable news shows. So are you in favor of pornography?
Yeah.
I'd be happy to represent those who are. I don't think they want me to represent them,
Yeah.
but I'd be happy to represent. But again, I don't tell you. I thought we were an open marketplace. I thought we were the free market. But now we're choosing when we want more government based on Christianity.
Right.
This isn't Judaism. This isn't Islam. This isn't Buddhism. It's a particular faith. And by the way, it's a little different than the Catholicism, or my wife's Lutheran. And I'm watching this happen, and I'm going, this shit wasn't going on 10 years ago.
Right.
I mean, you had the religious right, and that was I get why the Republican Party got in bed with the religious right. That came on the heels of Watergate, and there's like 30 Republicans in the Senate, and they're going, oh boy, we got to do something. Right. So I understand it. So now all of a sudden you're working with Jerry Falwell, and that's how that, Pat Robertson and Pat Buchanan were always running in the 1980s. I know you probably don't even know who they are, but anyway, well, the 700 Club, I know you're a fan. That just kind of like got normalized, that which was and is theocratic. Right. And it's going on, and I'm going, what in the fuck is this? Yeah. It's a phenomenal thing.
Right.
Because, again, like if you'd have told me this was going on in the 1950s, I'd go, okay, I guess, kind of a different time. The world certainly changed in the 1960s. And somehow we're going back to the thing that I thought we were condemning, which is theocracies.
Right, yeah.
So anyway, there's my observation.
One of my favorite, I always love talking about the newsroom, the show The Newsroom, because obviously Sorkin has his own way of optimistic look at America. But there is a true thing where he's like talking about like putting In God We Trust, like reestablishing that on money. And it's like, yeah, that gets done 20 times by somebody who gets newly elected to office to reinstate that In God We Trust gets put on.
I always enjoy
things.
the license plates from states in the South with it on there. And I think Indiana might have it too.
Yeah.
Whatever. I know. The thing is, if somebody thinks that and wants it, then great. If my license plate had it, I'd be like, okay, whatever. The money I'm using, whatever. I don't care. But now you're starting to do laws.
Yeah. Which we have a separation of.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm just, well, the founding fathers were Christian. I'm like, no, but that's not it. That's actually not true. We're like revising it. So I'm going, holy shit, this is going on.
Right. We founded this country so you could practice whatever religion you would like. So people get rid of persecution.
I'm in awe of seeing it happening in 2025. Let's see what I got here. The orange quarter zip looks sharp. What does it look orange? It's red, right?
It does kind of look orange in this light.
Interesting.
Weirdly.
Like Ricky Fowler on a
It's
Sunday?
super red to me IRL, but I'm looking at it through this monitor here, and it does look a little orange.
MD 2020, I've developed a nasty snap hook the last couple of years. Incredibly disheartening. I'm telling you, get in a simulator, and within 10 minutes, that would be gone. I'm telling you. I know it sounds crazy. Hubbard Marty, who sometimes watches this podcast but gets uncomfortable when we read erotica to each other.
Right.
And I think that's kink shaming, but whatever.
A little bit.
I said, I know, it's not like I'm not Butch Harmon, but if you go into a simulator with me, you're going to see the numbers and you're going to see what your club head's doing at the point of impact and whether it's, and I already knew what his swing pattern is. He's going to be coming across with the club face open. So what is that? Outside to in, I guess, right? With the club face open. That's what causes a right-hand slice. So then you can see it, and then you know what to alter. So in the case of you, MD 2020, I promise you on that. And this isn't because it's just natural. Once you see the numbers, then you know what to adjust. And, like I have a high spinny ball, so then I know to finish with more weight on my left leg. And then that lowers the launch angle, and then it also reduces the spin. The key is doing it when it actually matters and not in a simulator. What, if anything, gets you excited for the Redbirds this year? It's from MD 2020 also.
Maybe this is the year they finally bring back the Navy road cap correctly.
Fuck, I was all over Bill with the third one. He was on about that.
I know. I feel like we didn't get a straight answer.
You're damn right we didn't. I don't get, for the life of me, I don't get that. It would be great for this market if Mason Winter, Jordan Walker emerged as a star.
Yes.
And it'd be incredible if both of them did.
Yeah.
I think within the next 3 months, we'll be talking about a pitcher who we didn't know anything, we might have known about, but isn't somebody that we were thinking about being a possible star.
Yeah.
And I suppose it might be maybe refreshing to have a year with no expectations, and maybe they're
anything is gravy in a way.
Yeah,
I agree.
But honestly, and I know I'm kind of very vocal in a minority on this. I think I'm in a minority on it, but I just hate the way the baseball postseason has, from my standpoint, ruined the value of the regular season, the marathon. So it's like, they might be able to be around the wild card because everybody's in the mix for the wild card. And, on September 1st. But, if somebody said, Jackson, you get 10-1 on your money, the Cardinals winning 91.5 over.
No thanks.
You wouldn't take it. You wouldn't take a 10-1 on your money. You would not take that. Okay.
Over 90?
91.5 is the number. I guess I shot too high. Okay. Yeah. See what I'm saying?
Right. But if it was the playoffs.
But 10-1, well, you probably wouldn't do 10-1 on winning the World Series with the Cardinals. But you know what I mean?
But if they were in the playoffs and they got 10-1, like they're already in the playoffs, to start the playoffs, and you get 10-1 to win the World Series, I would like that better. I'm not saying I would like it.
Right.
I like it better than over 91.5 wins.
That's kind of my point. And then I sit there and I go, well, doesn't that bother people? I don't get it.
I'm kind of like, it's the same thing I kind of feel with the NCAA tournament, where I understand this is not the proper way to actually find out who the best team is, but I like the byproducts of it. Like, I like more teams being in it.
No problem with that. My issue, and this is the thing, because people go, you don't like the Stanley Cup play? You don't like... No. There's 162 baseball games. 162 baseball games. How many college basketball games? 35-ish?
Around 40, yeah.
Okay. And there's 82 hockey games. But they have been doing this forever. Baseball, 30 years ago, had 4 teams going into the playoffs, and deemed the best of 5 series, which was what the Cardinals beat the Braves in 1982 on the way to the World Championship, deemed that to not be fair to determining a champion. Now you can win a division and play in a best of 3.
Yeah, that part I really dislike.
That's my issue.
That part.
That you can win a division and play in a best of 3.
I'm with you there.
For the life of me, play 162 games. You have a bad 24 hours, and I'll wrap her on up. And it could have benefited the Cardinals. It doesn't matter because the Cardinals, if anything, their world championships have been beneficial from some outlier shit. Let's see. Did you happen to see the quote from Riley Leonard that essentially credited Notre Dame, Ohio State being in the championship to them being the most openly Christian teams, like Jesus had a futures bet on them? Yeah, Riley Leonard and I think it's fair to say, probably see the world through a different lens. He's probably more from the Kurt Warner school. Joe Theismann, possibly my father, but a regular on TMA. I'm sure we'll have him on Tuesday. I guess if they get their asses kicked, I don't know.
Yeah, that's
they lose on a heartbreaking fit because we're off on Monday. And I'm not going to really, I don't know if I want to bother him. I don't know. Maybe if I'm going to ask him, maybe I ask him now. But anyway, I think that's ridiculous. Joe Theismann said something like that when he was on with us, and I get that. And, that whole thing, you know. Yeah, my affinity, to be clear, for Notre Dame is rooted solely, and I mean solely, on my dad being one of those Subway alum guys because he's Irish Catholic, which I guess was a big thing for probably his, well, it was, I know it was his mom's brothers, Jack Kennedy and Jim Kennedy. Jim Kennedy was buried with a Notre Dame hat in the casket.
Really?
But you have to understand, and you can understand, because you fucking deal with it in 2025, which is also amazing. Anti-Semitism. You know, I know it sounds crazy in 2025, but, you know, the Irish and the Italians were, you know, in the early 20th century, and that's where it comes from. Right. So then it gets passed down. Nobody's running around going, yeah, as an Irish guy, this shit's tough now, but that's where it comes from. So then it becomes a family thing. But I get everybody on the outside going, what the fuck is this? You know, as Joe Buck said, your dad needs to grow up. And then my mom actually went to, she went to St. Mary's. It wasn't co-ed at the time. That's the school right on the other side of the road from South Bend, or from Notre Dame, and also took some classes at Notre Dame. And her brother went there. So it's a family thing. My love for Notre Dame, which is not even necessarily love, it's for wanting to see my dad see them win a national championship. Yeah. Period. Even though I feel like my mom was more into going to the game in Atlanta than my dad was, interestingly enough, because I was trying to get my siblings to get tickets, and we'd all go down to Atlanta. And it just wasn't. My dad's like, I'd rather watch it at home. Plus, the tickets are $2,000 minimum a piece, and you know. Anyway, it's solely about that. So when I watch that game, and I'm going to go over to my parents' house on Monday and watch that game, it will not. It's a hell of a lot. I wouldn't if it was Missouri in that game. I may watch it only with my wife. Yeah, I would. But it would be made crystal clear. The two goofballs, they can't be around.
Barred.
They cannot be around. Yeah. They got to be at your parents' house, because I can't have that. And that's the same reason my dad said, Timmy, I want all the kids to come over, but your brothers and sister. He goes, I don't want the grandkids over, because I really don't want them to see how I get during this, because you saw a couple of videos my sister shot during the what game was it, Penn State game, and you can probably sense the intensity. And that's like a 2 on 1 to 10.
I'm rooting for Notre Dame because of your father.
I appreciate that.
I want that known.
And that's why I'm rooting for him, you know? Yeah. Like, and the dynamic with my dad and his intensity, and then my mom's like nervousness and anxiety. Like when Don Dinkinger blew that fucking call in 1985, she was outside walking up and down the streets of South St. Louis because she couldn't bear to watch it. And she heard some guy through the window start motherfucking, and she knew that something went wrong. She goes, oh God, what happened? I heard him yelling next door. What happened? Because she can't bear to watch. Yeah. This is the absolute worst way for me to watch a sporting event with that shit going on. It's the worst. What just happened there? What just happened there? And I just want to go, shut the fuck up. But I can't. It's my mom. Right. Meanwhile, my dad's standing up and screaming. I mean, this is fucking insane.
It's peaceful.
It's insanity. It's insanity. My brother, Kevin, I don't even know if he knows what a touchdown is. You know, doesn't care. He went to Indiana, didn't go to one game, but when Indiana was playing Notre Dame a few weeks ago, some of his buddies were going, he's like, yeah, I might go to the game. I'm like, you motherfucker. Like, I'd love to go to the game. You don't, but, you know, God bless him. Sure. Danny and my sister were two legitimate athletes. Mara was a all-state soccer player, played at St. Louis University. Danny guarded Larry Hughes when he played basketball at Chaminade, is stunningly taller than me. They didn't put a 5'2" guy on Larry Hughes.
Which is a mistake.
Thank you for saying it. I didn't want to call attention to that.
You're a ball hawk.
That's good that you're saying it, because you know.
Yeah.
But their way they watch sport. Danny is, my dad always says, my mom's maiden name and my is Smith. I was thinking about, I was just going to lead to some fucking psycho hacking into something, but you know, it still might actually, now that I think about it. But it's such a common name. Yeah. And then they're two different sides of the family. Right. And me and my brother Kevin and Mara are McKernans, Kennedys, and Danny's more in the Smith category. And he's a super laid back guy. Three of us were intense and fucking nuts. but my dad puts it on another level while watching Notre Dame. I mean, this is going to be like flashbacks of my childhood when I hated Notre Dame, not because I knew anything about what was going on. I just knew, oh shit, if Notre Dame's playing, my dad's going to be yelling all afternoon. That's all I knew.
Yeah.
And so this is it. He's in his, whatever, late 70s. This might be it. That's how I'm looking. I mean, it sounds morbid. I'm sure he knows it too. Fuck, to me, it's healthy to talk about it. That's why I care. Otherwise, I pull for him, but I'm like, But because it's my parents. Now, Riley Leonard and anybody saying God wants Notre Dame to win, Jesus. Yeah, you can imagine where I am on that. And because I'm of Irish descent, because I'm Catholic, I don't subscribe to that shit in the slightest. I know some people do. God bless, whatever works. But for me, it's about my parents. And that is what would make me so happy. There is a part of me that worries that he is going to have a heart attack on Monday night. And I'm being serious because there's also a higher probability, of course, of the heart attack. I'm thinking Ohio State might win this thing like 40-6, and I might leave at halftime and be able to get a full night's sleep.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
But I don't see that. I think it's going to be a dogfight.
Do you really?
Yeah.
God bless. I hope that's the case.
I think Notre Dame's like the way their secondary played against Penn State, and I think their D-line is so good that I think it's tough for them to get blown out.
Floyd the Barber says, yeah, looks like Texas burnt orange. Have we been going? We haven't been going 3 hours, have we?
We are at 2 hours and 11 minutes.
God. Let's see. All right, I'm going to wrap it up here. Brother Aber, we are the two main teams to just publicly display our faith. Are you aware of this quote?
Yes, I was actually just reading it online.
Okay.
Yeah.
We are the two main teams to just publicly display our faith the most. I truly believe that Jesus was looking over both our shoulders throughout the season and put these two teams on a pedestal for a reason. That is his exact quote. There were strict rules in my house during Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals in 2019. I was a complete psychopath. My wife was afraid to speak to me until the final order. God bless you, Brother Aber.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
I love that. People don't ever be ashamed of how much you care about sports.
And I guess that's why you like seeing the videos of my dad.
Well, because it made me feel better about myself.
Sure. But I mean, when the Rams played the Titans in the Super Bowl, I'm like, I came home from Little Rock. That's where I was doing television at the time. I took the week off so I could be in St. Louis during that week because it was like a foregone conclusion that they were going to win the Super Bowl, much less be in the Super Bowl. So then I'm at that Buccaneers game and I'm going, oh, fuck. What am I going to do here? I'm off this week. And when you're, 22 and working in television, you don't have a, 4 weeks vacation. So I'm like, I guess I'll just hang out since the Buccaneers are going to be playing the Titans. But when I watched that game, I went in the basement, watched it by myself, and it was just understood. Yeah. That's the way it's going to be. Anna Maria's watched enough games with me to understand the program, And it's at this point, it's really only Missouri football, But I guess the Blues Cup run. But we watched all that together, and Jameson was born then. I don't know. I don't know what the.
You've been really, really young, right?
Yeah, he wouldn't have been 2 yet, so he might have. But he never slept. I don't know. I don't know where he was on the night of Game 7, but it was just us. Either way. Yeah, this is going to be something else on Monday night, man.
Intense.
Oh, my God. And then, part of me wants to, shoot videos of it, but then, it could be so fucking nuts. I don't know if they can be, shown.
But I love that so much because,
you don't. I think you love it, and then you see it. I saw my dad go after one of his sales guys one time. And he literally had this poor motherfucker up against the wall. And my dad's, he's all shrinking, I guess. But, I don't know. He was probably in his late 50s then. And he's got this motherfucker up against the wall. And he's turning red. And he's screaming at him. And it was during a commercial break at KFNS. And I'm going, oh, my. I'm like, I'm 5 again. This is what it was like.
Trauma.
Right.
And
I'm like, holy shit. I haven't thought about that in so long.
Right.
And I'm like, what demons of the past am I going to encounter? It's like Aaron Rodgers in Costa Rica. What am I going to see? Am I going to start throwing up on my brothers? And I want to watch the game, and I want to be there with my parents, but I'm like, this is going to be fucking nuts.
Yeah.
I don't know if people can relate to this. I don't know. This is you think you know.
Listen, I've seen the intensity like this. The intensity when your favorite team is in the dogfight, especially when there's a lot of high stakes. It's like crazy because like you have no effect over the game, but you feel like you do, and you live and die with every moment. To me, that's what life is worth living for.
I agree. Emotion, experience, the roller coaster. You know, I acted out a scene one time on a podcast a few years ago. I think I did this.
I think that was a decade ago.
All right, Jackson, that's it. I don't care. I don't care if an erotic story from Ella Reese comes in. I'm not reading it.
That's an emergency pod.
It would be an emergency podcast. Time to shut it down. Thank you to Mark Hanna, Evergreen Wealth Strategies, Seth Goldcamp, Design Air Heating and Cooling, James Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency, and Munganess St. Louis Acura, Munganess Burkhardt, Alton Toyota. For Jackson Burkett, I'm Tim McKernan. This has been the Tim McKernan Show podcast.